You're listening to BL in the Air. My name is Chy,
And I'm Alex.
and we are your Thai BL podcast. Although today we are going to be your Thai GL podcast because our topic of today is going to be our first GL show that we're going to discuss. So,
Yay.
yeah, I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about Pluto. But first, before we do that, of course, Alex, what's in the air with you?
Okay, so last week I watched Your Sky, um,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
which is it stars Thomas and Kong, and honestly, it was way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us what it's like about.
So it's about like this cult. So okay, my one complaint is like the first episode. I will say because it's about like this. I guess he's like a freshman, right, in college, and he it's like him interacting with like an upperclassman, right? And like the way they set it up in like the first episode is like this upperclassman who's played by Thomas is like super mean and like fights everybody and all this like crazy stuff and like that happens in like I don't know, just the example of like what he's like and then never really happens again. Like he's like the nicest guy.
Is it the old monster next door effect?
Sort of, but like they at least lean into it a little bit. Where like
Mm-hmm.
when he gets upset like with somebody, like he like beats the shit out of them, right? But it's
Oh,
like
okay.
kind of justified. Like it's not like a I'm just gonna go fight people to fight people type of thing. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
like him defending somebody basically, right? Um
Yeah.
and then so like it pops up a little bit and like it's made a point of like Kong's character like mellows him out. So like it's fine, but it's one of those they made him to be like this big scary person and then he's just not. Um which I think is more of a misunderstanding from Kong's character.
Uh-huh.
Um but yeah, like their chemistry is really good too and I was surprised by the NC scenes. Like not that they were like anything like I don't know, like what Boss Knoll or like Fort Pete do, but like it kind of caught me off guard. Um
Yeah.
but they Domundi just announced all their shows, right? And Thomas Kong have 3 shows coming out.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I remember seeing that. And we were like, wow, that's so many. But they're just like Del Monte just has like not put out like any other shows really. Like they're just like their one ship at the moment that's like active in the last year.
Yeah, and honestly, like the chemistry and stuff is so solid. Like I'm not even mad.
Mm.
And I will
Okay,
say
yeah.
one of the shows is like a 3 episode spinoff from Your Sky. So like
Oh,
okay.
okay.
But the other ones are like actual shows. One is an ensemble, so it's not just them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is like them focused. So
Yeah, I feel like Your Sky really like just went under the radar for me because the name is so similar to like Our Sky,
yeah, I thought it was the
which
same show.
yeah, which is like another like entire series. Like there's multiple of them where it's
Yeah.
like other BL couples
Yeah.
like having special episodes. And so I think I feel like I just heard that and I was like, Your Sky? Oh, that's like Our Sky. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
was in
yeah, I
the
haven't seen it, but
I was in the same boat and I saw like a clip on like Twitter or something on Your Sky and I was like, "Oh, that looks interesting." And then I was like, "Fine, I'll go watch it." But then like it has an 8.2 on MDL. Like
mhm.
that's pretty
Yeah, it's
solid.
pretty high.
Yeah. So, I do recommend.
Okay.
So, what about you? What's in there with you?
Ooh, now I'm in my Japanese BL era.
I'm so excited.
I know. Okay, I put off watching them for so long because I was like, I feel like I knew I was gonna get like a little too into them, which is what ended up happening.
I mean, that's what happened to me, right?
Yeah, because a lot of them are like really short. They're
Hmm.
like 25 minutes and they're like at, on average like 8 episodes.
Hmm.
And so you can just like really knock them out in a day. But
Yeah. What's 4 hours?
I know
Not
exactly.
even.
And I like all of them.
Hmm.
The ones I'll just like go through really quick. The ones I watched, I it's hard too because the names on my drama list are all the Japanese names.
Yeah, it's so
So,
frustrating.
so okay, I guess in no order. I watched 25G Akasaka Day, which I probably pronounced that so American, but like I don't know how. But I don't see a translation for that one.
Yeah, I don't
That's
remember.
the Yeah, that's the one where it's like two actors and they get cast in a BL together. It's very meta. I'd say I liked that one, but I didn't like love it, but I still liked it, you know.
Yeah.
And then I watched When It Rains It Pours, which finished airing like as I was watching it, so it's very new. And I like that one quite a lot, honestly. Um it's like it's okay, it was kind of I was watching it and I was like, is this gonna get like incel-y? And
Oh
it
no.
like it kind of doesn't.
Oh good.
I thought it was interesting because it's kind of about like, so these two people, they end up like, one of them accidentally sends an email to the other and they kind of strike up this like pen pal relationship, but they work together.
Oh.
And they both are very like unhappy in their relationships. Um, like one guy, he has a girlfriend, they've been together for like 4 years or whatever, but like they don't have sex at all anymore. And he's like very distraught by this. And the other guy, he has been living with his best friend, who's another guy, and they have this weird relationship where like they're kind of like romantically involved, but the other guy does not want anything physical to do with him. So he's kind of trapped in this relationship where he's like he's in love with this guy, but like he doesn't want to leave the relationship because I don't know. It's that relationship like really hurt my heart. But anyway, so they start talking and then they end up kind of like having an affair. Um I know. So it was I liked it a lot. It's definitely like a lot of it's kind of morally gray, but like you understand almost all of the characters' point of views. I would say with the exception of like there's like a boyfriend, the one boyfriend who sucks and is awful. But it's very like human and I think it brings up some interesting discussions. So I liked that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I- But I'm scared
Hmm.
that I'm gonna go on another like JBL like binge.
I know. It's that was the gateway for me. That was the first one I started, and it was still airing. So I was like, well, like shoot, I gotta watch some other show while I wait for the last episode to come out. Um, because then I watched Happy of the End,
Yes. I
which
love
I
that one.
loved. I loved it too. It's so angsty. It's very fucked up,
It
but
is.
like in like a way I enjoyed, you know.
Yeah, it's I can appreciate it for what it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was all I don't know, just pretty well done.
Mhm.
And then just like yesterday I watched, let me see. The translation is, I don't see a translation, but I think on Viki it was called like Love's Better the Second Time.
Okay, I've heard of
I,
that
I
one.
I feel like you watched it. I think I saw it on your list,
Oh.
unless I'm wrong. But basically, it's about like this. It's an editor for a magazine.
Oh, yes, I've seen it.
Yeah. And he is gonna do a column with like this, I don't know, author or something. I think, and it ends up being his like first love from high school, and like so they're reconnecting for the first time in many years. And yeah, I like that one too. It was very short, but like I like some of the Japanese BLs. I get kind of frustrated because the main characters a lot of the times are very like they're just like cool being like stepped on and like never
Yeah.
standing up for themselves and shit. But I like the guy in this series because he was still very polite and very professional a lot of the times, but there were a couple times where he would just like snap at people and it was like funny to me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
so
there's
those are the four I watched.
yeah, there's quite a few I'd say where there's like one really pushover character.
Yeah,
Um,
that's definitely like a Japanese like culture thing, but I'm
yeah.
just like not as used to it, I
Yeah,
would
cuz
say.
cuz I want to say like My Beautiful Man and My Weatherman, I think both
Mm.
have like a male lead that's kind of more of a pushover, yeah.
Yeah, those are
So,
two I plan to watch next probably. But
yeah. We'll have to do a whole episode like deep diving into them. Um,
yeah, yeah, we'll definitely do like a Japanese BL episode or multiple.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's uh that's what I'm watching.
Yeah. And then we're both watching a ton of stuff on air right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
still continuing. The Heart Killers did finish, so
devastated. I miss it
Wednesdays
so
are empty
much.
for me. I
There's a
know.
void in my life.
There is a void. Now it's just like for me it's just like Monday and Fridays, I think.
I have Sunday, Monday, and Friday, but then I started watching a Korean drama again, but it's not like a BL, like an actual Korean, like a straight drama,
Mhm.
which is I think the first one I've watched since I got into BL. I'm
Yeah.
like, what is happening right now? I'm not used to this anymore.
I
Um,
know that reminds me when I watched like The Glory and I was like in the midst of all the BL stuff and I was like, "You know what? I'm so here for this."
yeah, and so that's airing on Mondays, and then I started my first Taiwanese show. And that airs
Yeah.
on Fridays. That's also half hour. I don't know if all Taiwanese ones are like that, but that one's a half hour.
Okay.
Um, I'm not sure if I like it,
Oh.
but I'm committed for now.
Yeah. I would yeah, I don't think I've seen any Taiwanese dramas
Yeah.
really. But
It,
that reminds me I'm also watching Gel Boys,
oh,
which airs on Saturdays, I think.
mm.
So, I
I
got
have
that going on.
I have no idea what that show is about, but the belly button thing today, like apparently one of the characters has a outie belly button, but the actor doesn't, so it's a prosthetic, and that is the funniest thing to me.
I thought I watched the episode. I thought it was just real. It looks really real, but it's funny that that's something they like put the effort into making a prosthetic for.
Yeah, it's
But that show is super interesting. I'll definitely talk more about that next time because like
yeah.
that
There's
could be
only
a whole what's in the air for me.
yeah, because there's not that many episodes out right now, right? Like three or so.
No, yeah, the third episode just came out this weekend,
Hmm.
so hmm yeah.
Cool.
Well, should we should we talk about Pluto?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts.
I have a lot of thoughts too.
Yeah. Um, you've
um,
watched GL before this, right?
I've seen some, but like I don't know if I've like finished one because
Oh,
I started like 23 and a half and I
okay.
that one was currently airing at the moment and so I like stopped watching at a point and then I never caught up,
Mm-hmm.
which I plan to finish. And then there's one called Petrichor. I don't know how to
Yeah.
pronounce it, but that one's currently airing, and so that's another one where like 2 episodes were out, so I watched the first 2 episodes, and then
Okay.
I haven't caught up yet.
Okay. So you haven't seen much more than I have because this was my first like
No,
period. Like,
yeah, I think this is the first. I mean, there hasn't been that many like
mm-hmm.
in general, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. You
because this
could.
is the second GL that GMMTV's ever produced
Yeah. The 23
after
and a
23
half.
and a half.
Yeah. Well,
So
you can tell that it's early in the GL.
yeah, that's what like so I'm glad I watched it and I enjoyed it, but I also was so stressed out watching this show and like cuz all of the characters make the most stupid decisions the whole show that make no sense.
Yes.
And it does remind me a lot of like earlier BL like
Mm-hmm.
2020, 2021 like type BL, which is where like situationally is kind of where GL is right now, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like in context, it's like, okay, I get it, you know.
Yeah, that's
But
as far as like that goes, I'm not judging too hard. I'm just judging the characters are awful.
yeah, the characters are awful. Not just in terms of like none of them you can really root for
Yeah.
because they're all just doing like bad things most of the show.
Yeah,
But like I got invested, you know.
yeah. Yeah, and it's not even like bad and like red flag bad on some of them. What made it like maybe not the biggest red flag, but just like this is
hmm
you're causing problems. Please stop.
I know. We'll get into it. I have
Yeah.
so many questions regarding like the decisions that all of the characters make literally the entire show.
Yes.
But I enjoyed the mess. It gets really messy at one point, and I'm like, you know what? That's all I need.
Yeah.
A little bit of mess. So the show started airing in October 2024, and then it ended in January 2025. So very recent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they announced the show like a long ass time ago, and immediately I was like looking forward to it a lot from when they announced it, because
Yeah.
I was like, the premise sounds really interesting. But then it took like so long to release. I kept being like, okay, are they ever making Pluto? But then they did. So,
Mm. I'm just here
and
for Namtan.
yeah, oh my god. So yeah, that's the other thing. I'm in love with Namtan. Like,
Yes.
she's one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen
Mm-hmm.
in my life. And I love every show she's been in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I love a leading role for her.
Yes.
So, I guess she has two leading roles, technically.
Yeah.
So, the show, it is about identical twins. And of course, they're both played by Namtan, but their names are Obum and Iun, and they have a very strained relationship. And when Obum gets married, she is gonna leave for her honeymoon, but she's like, "Hey, Iun, can you break up with my side piece?" Which is a batshit premise. Um, and Iun is like, "Sure," but then she realizes her sister's lover. Not only is she a woman, but she's blind too. And Iun is like, "I can't do this. I feel really bad, and also I'm confused." So that's how the show starts.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack in like the first episode
Oh
already.
yeah. Yeah, this show is, if you were ever like, I wish I had a show that was not me and Last Twilight combined, but also GL, this
Yeah.
is exactly the show you're looking for.
With a little like almost like only friend thrown in there for a while with the
Yeah, towards the end, the shit that was happening, I was like, oh my, like, I was like, I didn't realize it was gonna
Yeah. I got
go
a little
down this hard.
confused there for a minute because I wasn't as clear on who was who on some of the like side characters because like when the cop
Mm.
was like not dressed as a cop, I didn't recognize her.
Yeah, so I know all the other girls. I guess okay, well, I guess we can go through the cast, but there's a
Yeah.
couple of the other side characters, and I've seen most of them in other shows before.
Mhm.
So I was able to like tell like what was happening, but it was a little confusing too cuz like yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, but so we said Namten plays both of the twins, so she's our main character. And then there's also May, who's played by Film. She's the other lead.
Yeah, she's the one that's blind.
Yes, she's the one that's blind. And then we have Peng. I don't know. She's played by Cicey, who I've seen in other shows before. She's in Tempo right now, right?
Is she?
I think she's
Huh.
by Fern. I can look it up.
Uh,
Is that
no.
her?
Yeah. Yes, that's her.
Okay.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now I don't like her.
Yeah.
That's a
I
whole different
know.
can of worms for another
That
day.
is, yeah. I agree. Um and then there's also Pim, who's played by Kapuk. She's the cop. And I
Mhm.
saw her in shoot, what that other show with Nemtan and like Mech and all the other, that one, the
Uh
JoJo show? What is that called?
the player.
The Player. I fucking love The Player.
Also,
Um
she's in A Son's Love.
Yes, she is. Yes. I remember seeing her and being like, "Oh my god." Yeah, cuz her and Nemtan are both like the main character in The
The
Player.
player?
So, yeah. They're like, I would say they're both kind of the main character.
Huh.
So,
I still need to watch
anyway.
that.
Yeah, it's so good. If you if you like Pluto, like the mess in Pluto, and you're like, I want that times like 30,000,
Oh God.
then watch The Player. um, and then finally we have Ern, who's played by Jan, and she's friend. Which this is where I got confused because Pang is Ai's friend, but Ern is friend. And I feel like they didn't, maybe they explained that right in the beginning, but that's like when they were introducing all the characters and I was like, okay, who's friends with who? Like how do these people know each other? And then the cop is there and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But
So Pang was the one that had like the tarot card reading thing, right? Or whatever.
yeah.
Right?
Hang on, it's been a hot minute since
Okay.
I no, Peng is the botanist or the one who had she's the florist.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And Ern is the tarot card.
Okay. So I thought the botanist and the tarot card was the same person.
Yeah, they have them styled quite similarly for a while in the show.
Yeah, that
And
got me stressed out.
yeah, because then they're both introduced like, oh, I'm the friend
Yeah.
of the twin, but there's two twins and they each have separate friends. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see the confusion, but
Yeah.
that's the main cast. There's more people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Thor is there. He's
I love Thor
gets.
despite
I,
everything.
I do too. I feel so happy whenever I see him in a show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
And then
I don't think I put him down because I don't think he doesn't really become super important until later, but he does become important.
yeah, and then Ben, by the way, is played by Tidal, which is from Only
Yeah.
Friends, Choom's brother.
Yes. Which I didn't realize because he's
He
looks quite different in the show.
right?
He's a little
I f-
injured. So
Yeah, but even
I
I feel
didn't
like his
recognize him.
face looks like different. Like I guess it was because they had to like age him down because he was so much younger in Only Friends.
Yeah, right. I love watching GMMTV shows and being like, oh, that's that person the
Yeah.
whole time.
Like they have a ton of actors, and at the same time, I'm like, it's still the same like 20 that I recognize.
I know, exactly. All right, so here we go. Episode 1.
Hmm.
So, Ai-un, she shows up to her sister's wedding and she very clearly doesn't want to be there. She's like pulls up on her motorcycle. She's in like jeans and like a leather jacket. She's a cool girl, you know?
Hmm.
She's not like other girls.
Namtan did that one photo shoot on a motorcycle that I sent you like forever ago, and that has lived in my head rent free.
Me
So like
too.
seeing her on a
She's
motorcycle in this is like, yes, thank you.
half of the show is me just like fainting over how hot Namtan is, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Like so often I was like, I don't know what she just said. I'm too busy just looking at her. But yeah, she's a they had like a nickname for them in the show. I don't remember, but they're motor punks. That's what they call them.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, interesting. Um, and so we get this little like flashback that's not gonna make any sense at all until like the last episode. But um, we find out that in the past, I basically pretended to be her sister at school without her sister knowing. So like like went to like a really nice high school that I guess she couldn't go to because she wasn't as academically like inclined, and so she would pretend to be her brother and like or her brother, her sister, and go to class or some shit. But they're fighting over something she did, and I didn't know what it was. But you're not supposed to, so that's the good news. So we'll find that in about that in like 10 episodes. But and at the time, I was like, okay, I'll make it up to you. I'll do anything. Just like ask me for a favor sometime. So now that it's like years and years later, is at her wedding. She's ready to cash in that favor.
It's a
And
grudge for that long.
I know. Okay, these sisters have just the unhealthiest relationship. Like,
Therapy, please.
yeah, like so much therapy for both of them and everyone in the show
Yeah.
actually.
We say that a lot.
We really do, but I think it could improve upon a lot of these issues. Um she's like, "Hey, so for my favor, you need to break up with my other lover." Girl, you're at your wedding.
Do you know how just baffled I would be if I like at my sister's wedding and she just went, "Hey, I have an affair partner. Can you go end things for me?" Like,
Yeah,
what?
I'd be like, okay, fix your own shit. Second of all, at your wedding,
Yeah.
time and place.
And apparently the guy was like really good too. Like, so like a good person. So
Yeah,
I'm like, deserved
yeah,
better.
I know. And so of course she's like, forget it. I'm not doing that. Like, which is very fair.
Yeah, I would also say that.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't know how big you think this favor is for. Wasn't for something that big.
No, it really wasn't. It was such a small
No.
thing.
Yeah. And so then of course, and her new husband, they get into a car crash, leaving the wedding, and is unconscious at the hospital, and the husband is just dead, like immediately. It's like so sad.
It's one of
And
I knew it was gonna be a GL, but like it was also one of those I'm like, you just killed off like the really hot like husband. What are we doing?
I know. I'm like, okay, part of me, I'm for it because it's kind of like the dead wife trope where like it's an action movie and then a man's wife dies and then that's his like call to revenge or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
I mean,
that but reverse, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah. It's like,
yeah, it was fine. It was one of those I was like, okay, but he's hot.
yeah. these girls these girls don't care.
No, they don't.
They're gay.
Yep.
All of them, and I'm saying that including
Yeah.
but we'll get into that later. But I is finally like, okay, if my sister dies and this is her last wish, like I have to do it. I
Which
have to
is
break up with her other lover.
it's such a weird logical like jump to make all of a sudden
I
of
know.
of like, oh, my sister's unconscious in the hospital. Let me go end the one remaining relationship she
And end it. Yeah.
like, okay.
I yeah. I agree.
Whatever you want to do, I.
Well, I gets there. She doesn't know anything about this lover. And it turns out a woman walks down the stairs. She's blind. And the woman just walks up and just smooches her, like, right off the bat.
And she like leans right into it too. It takes her a second to be like, wait a second.
Oh, yeah, she's so into it right away. Like, no time for, like, shock. She's just, like, about it.
Yeah. Which
Like,
I
maybe a
mean,
little shock, but yeah.
yeah. Which to be fair, film is really pretty too. So
Oh, yeah, definitely.
like
Yeah.
valid.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she finds out that, like, and May had a falling out after May went blind. And that's why they haven't seen each other in a while. Which, first of all, it's kind of crazy if you and your partner, like, had a huge fight and hadn't talked for, like, months. And then your partner, or like your ex or whatever, came back to visit just to greet them with a smooch is, like, kind of crazy.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it worked out. And then after all this, I feel so bad she can't break up with May.
which is
Because
even
May is.
messier.
It is. And I kind of get it at first because May is like talking about like, oh my God, like I'm so happy you were back, whatever. And like, I is like, oh my God, did my sister break up with this girl because she went blind? Like, because that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
So, but like, obviously, like, you can't just keep playing along with it. But I
No,
understand her feeling like horrible about it.
right? But it's so messed up.
It is, yeah. It's very deceptive.
Especially
So,
when you know you have such a different personality from your sister.
yeah,
Like, what are you doing?
I know. And it's like also, okay, so they're identical sisters, so they look exactly the same, is the thing about being
Mm,
identical sisters. But like, I feel like that's one thing to like trick a person who has like, vision and like even to them, it's going to be impossible to tell you apart. But
yeah,
like an added layer is that like this girl can't even see that. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't know,
Well,
feels extra bad.
I will say for being identical and it being just Namtan for everything, right? They did a really
Mhm.
good job of making it obvious who was who.
Oh, definitely. You could totally tell.
Even when like there was a time I think where um had like her hair straightened the way that I does, but like
Mhm.
just her like mannerism during that time, you could still tell the difference, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was great as well. They made it so obvious.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um and basically like we see a little bit of their grandma, and she's the one who raised the girls cuz their parents died when they were really young. And she's just like devastated that is in a coma. And it kind of wonders like if it were happened to me instead, like would my grandma care so much, cuz she always kind of felt like the odd child out. Like
Hmm.
she feels like was always like the golden child and she was the disappointment of the family. So she is kind of having some thoughts about that.
That's so
And then
sad.
I know, it is sad. I think the family drama in the show and that stuff I really, really like.
Hmm.
I thought it was interesting. But like, we'll get to it. Uh, but of course, so she has these kind of thoughts. Who does she go to for comfort? She goes to May.
Yeah, which is so weird,
What are you doing?
right?
Yeah.
Like
Go
like
to
she's
like. Do you have friends? Maybe.
yeah, no, she's like immediately in love with this random girl that she just met. Is basically what's
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Who
Eh,
random girl who happens to be your sister's affair partner,
Yeah. Who
which
doesn't know you're not your sister?
right? Which I mean, I feel like maybe affair partner's not even the right word because technically like and May were together first.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Yeah. And she goes over there at night and she finds out that and May never even slept in the same bed before. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, is this a real relationship? Like, what's happening? And I also was thinking that too.
yeah,
Like,
I don't understand their relationship either.
I know,
Like
cause
even now
like
I don't get it.
I don't either. I was like, okay, are they doing the thing where like they're like, oh, girls are girls and they don't have a sense of sexuality, and actually, lesbians don't have sex, can't do that because they're both girls.
But I mean, they make it clear that's not the case. Um,
Yeah, right. But with like the other couples, but like with and May, I still don't understand. I was like, if they were romantically involved, like wouldn't they have at least slept in the same bed together? I don't know.
yeah,
That
you
was
would.
weird to me.
Yeah, I didn't get it either.
Maybe, mm, you know what? I figured it out.
Oh, I love when we
May
haven't.
wasn't. This will make way more sense like towards the end of the show. I assume if you're listening to this, I assume you've watched the show.
Yeah.
If not, just bear with us. But obviously spoilers. I think May wasn't talking about when she said that, because
Oh.
what we know retroactively is May knew from the very beginning that it was I,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think she was saying that like to I, like we've never slept in the same bed before.
That could be. That would make way more
Right?
sense.
I
Yeah.
think that has to be
Yeah.
what she was talking about.
Yeah. Which speaking of that, May walking up and the first time she's having like a real like meeting with I and just kissing her, knowing it's I, like that's
Yeah.
come on. What are we
It makes
doing?
there is so much of the show that makes no sense. You just kind of have to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then the episode ends with I getting a call from Jan, and Jan is Um's best friend.
Hmm.
Um, and saying that she found out that the accident may have been like intentional, or like someone may have caused them to crash, because the reason why they left the wedding in such a rush is because Paul got a call from an unknown number and they like rushed out. And so Jan is like, I think maybe we need to look into this as like foul play, perhaps. So yeah, that's how episode 1 ends.
Yeah. I definitely thought that was gonna go more in that direction of like than it did with
Yeah,
the
me too. Mhm.
so because you learn what happens, right? So that'll come up later. But I definitely thought it was gonna be some sort of foul play somewhere as like another plot line that never happened.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more of like a mystery kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, and
Yeah.
it's not. But there's a lot that happens. So maybe it's for the best that they
Yeah. There was no room
kept
for that
that
plot.
simple. No. So yeah, in episode 2 we get some flashback and we learn that a little bit more about their dynamics. So was very sick as a child very often, and then their parents died, and so I kind of did her best to take care of her sister at the time along with grandma. Um and so I guess that's, I don't know, setting up for a little bit of background.
Yeah. So I know age and like oldest and whatever like is a factor in like culture in Thailand, but I thought it was
Mhm.
really interesting how even though they're like twins,
Mhm.
how much the older sister younger sister thing still plays in.
I thought so too, yeah. Because
I was
they
like,
constantly, I was like, oh yeah, my younger sister. And I'm like, you guys are twins.
right? It's like you guys are like minutes apart. Come on.
Yeah.
Um, I don't was it that way and not me? Like I think it was a little bit, but
I
like maybe not as
think, I think it was a thing. Because, like, I'm pretty sure, like, black was older than white, right?
yeah.
I do think the brothers didn't really take care of each other as much as, like, these girls did. So maybe that's
Yeah.
why. Because in
Okay.
here it was like, I was like, oh, I'm the older sister, and my younger sister is sick all the time. So I, like, feel an obligation to protect her. But yeah, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched Not Me.
Yeah, because I want to say like there it was made a point of which one was older, but like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like every other sentence like it felt like in Pluto there for a while.
Yeah. Also in Pluto, we're constantly getting Ai's like internal monologue.
Yes, which
So
drove me
that's the
nuts
other
in the
thing.
beginning. I did not
it's
enjoy it in the
very
beginning.
it's very like first person for no reason.
Yeah, it's when it's like that when it's constantly like voicing over how somebody feels, it feels more like telling instead of showing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just it's not bad acting, it's just bad writing.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And so it tones down after, let's say, like the third or fourth episode. It tones down, but
Mhm.
the first few episodes, I was like, I cannot do this for this whole show.
I know they would hug and then Ai's head would be like, well, I know I shouldn't be doing this. I should break up with her, but she's so beautiful. Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, get a
Yeah,
grip.
it was a lot.
Yeah, I was. Um, but yeah, speaking of the attempted murder, maybe plot. Jan and they go to the police station to learn more information about this call, and they meet Pim, who's a cop, and Pim is like, it seems like the call was the reason why the two of them rushed out from the wedding, but that doesn't mean that like someone did this purposely. Like it doesn't mean that there's like a perpetrator at all.
Yeah.
Um, so she's like, don't jump to conclusions, but also like Pim kind of is like, they might be onto something, but she
Hmm.
kind of sends them home at first.
Yeah, let the cops do their job.
Yeah. And Jan does not respect the cops to do their job. So she's like
Yeah.
meddling a bunch. But of course, immediately I and Jan are like, okay, I think May is the most suspicious person here. Because I guess she would have like a motive to break up this couple.
Yeah.
And so she goes to May's house, and May's weird cousin is there. Which we learned more about him later, but like at the time watching this, I was like, okay, her weird cousin is there.
I like him though.
I
But
do
yeah.
too. At first I didn't, but then you kind of learn why later. But
Yeah. His name is Ton, and he's played by Arm.
yes, yes. It definitely took me a little bit before I started writing down his name because I was like, is he like a reoccurring character? Like, what's going on? But he's there and he's trying to convince May to move back home and like give up on lawyering because May was like a lawyer before she went blind, and now like that she is blind, she does like advocacy for like disability justice and stuff in like the legal system, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, good for her.
Right.
Yeah, she shouldn't just give that up just to go home and do nothing. But
Yeah. She comes from a lot of money, so she could easily just sit at home and do nothing and just be blind.
yeah, which is what her parents would like her to do.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, May knows that her parents just like kind of want to hide her away in the house because she's blind and she's gay, and they don't like, they're embarrassed by both of those things.
Rude.
So yeah, she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I
Good
live
for
in
her.
this beautiful mansion and I'm a lawyer, so yeah, good for her. She's girl bossing. And Peng, who is Ai's friend, she's the florist. She's also clued in about this. She thinks that because they're like suspicious of May, she's like, well, I bet May is faking her blindness too.
This stressed me out so much.
I know. And oh, this girl. So while May and I are out for a walk, first of all, I thought the scene was kind of cool because like they kind of show how even things that are like labeled as accessible in the public space is like not accessible. So they like show like the like yellow lines on the ground for like, you know, people to follow, and then how there's like a street sign like right at head level like across the thing on the ground. But they kind of show like a direct example of like what May is like advocating for. So
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool. But what's not cool is that Peng, in order to test May's blindness, she like pulls Ai aside to see if May notices. But now May is left alone on the street, and she almost gets hit by like a scooter that's going past, and she like falls and gets hurt.
Girl has like a full meltdown, and like I totally don't blame her. I would have too, but
Yeah.
freaking out because I isn't responding. Like she's literally like screaming for help, and like I just standing there with Pang.
Yeah. And like later on, I think I is like, oh, sorry, I saw a cat. I had to go get it. But
Yeah.
like, yeah. But of
And
course, Pang feels like super bad, and she's like, oh,
she should.
sorry, I literally just harassed a blind person. My bad. So, well, she's a little less suspicious now, but not out of the clear yet. And Jan is snooping around the police station because she doesn't trust the cops to do their job. And she's caught by Pim, of course.
No. Good job sneaking.
Yeah, right? But Pim isn't even like mad because she's like, you know what? I kind of think you're on to something because I like told my superiors about the phone call and they told me to stop digging.
That's not
And
suspicious.
yeah, right? And I guess it turns out, I think maybe I don't know if we learned this now or later, but basically like the reason behind this is because from the autopsy report, Paul was drunk when he crashed, so he's drunk driving. And so
Hmm.
his parents want the cops to close the case, so they don't want anyone um investigating anymore. So they're not allowed to investigate this like phone call thing.
Yeah. So Paul's family comes from a lot of money. So
Yeah. There's a
I,
lot of people with a lot of money in this show.
yeah, I feel like I and family is like the only one that doesn't have money.
Yeah, and like they're some of I's friends,
Yeah.
and that's like
So,
there's a good amount of commentary on like class stuff
hmm.
later on in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while Jan is actively trying to solve this case, I is going on dates with her sister's girlfriend. Um so they go to the planetarium, and of course May is like, "Oh, Pluto. I love Pluto because no one can see it with the naked eye, not just me." And so that's why there's some like Pluto motifs throughout the whole show, but like yeah, it kind of starts here.
Yeah.
And like I like awkwardly leaves the date after cuz I think she's kind of like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And
She's definitely been struggling like morally with what's happening.
yeah, cuz it's something where it's like my heart's telling me yes, but my mind's telling me no.
Hmm.
So,
I mean, it's your sister's girlfriend.
yeah. That's like, oh, I just couldn't imagine if I thought I was dating someone and it was like their twin. Like, that's
Yeah.
just so icky. But luckily, May does know it's I the whole time.
I
But like, I doesn't know this.
What kills me is everybody knows.
Mm
Like through different things. Not everyone knows that everyone else knows, but everybody knows what is
hmm. Mm
happening.
hmm. I know. So like, everyone's lying to each other for literally no reason.
Yeah, it's so which makes things so much worse in the end.
It does. And May is like upset by I leaving, and so she like tells her housekeeper and her cousin to leave for the night. But then she calls I like right after and is like, "You need to come now. Help me, help." And so I runs over. And then May is like, "Oh, there's a cockroach in my room. I need you to kill it." Which is
Nobody
honestly me right now with that bug flying around, but
no one ever call me for a bug. I no. No. I will
I
not be the one to
will
help.
I will bring my cat. That's what I do, and I have him like clean it up for me.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
I
okay, go catch.
no. Like living alone when I have to like deal with bugs by myself is literally like the worst day of the week.
I bet. And you have scary bugs too, which
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with.
So we have like the giant like roaches, the palmetto bugs, the fly. So we have
Yeah.
those, and those I've gotten really good at handling. But and knock on wood, but I haven't had it here. But when I was living in North Carolina, I used to get wasps in my apartment all the time.
Yeah, we have like a wasp nest outside the window, which I should probably knock down before winter ends. But they
Yes,
get
do
into my
that.
room sometimes. It's
Oh,
really bad.
that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten better at dealing with those. The worst one for me lately is the Joro spiders, which is it comes from Asia. They're an invasive species and they have like no predator and cold doesn't really bother them that much, at least like Georgia cold. Um
Mm-hmm. Those are terrifying looking.
they're so big. It's like the size of my fist.
Oh, yeah, if I had to deal with those, I would just move.
So I like for the most part they don't bother me, right? They're chill. They don't do anything. Like technically they're venomous or poisonous or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
like that's a last resort thing for them. They're not going to do anything. Um
Yeah.
But like, I wanted to decorate my balcony for Christmas, and so I walked out on my balcony and I had 40 of them on my balcony.
No.
It took me quite a while to figure out first how to get rid of them and
Yeah.
then to have the nerve to do it. And at one point I'd killed one and I was trying to knock it down from like the ceiling in the
Uh-huh.
like the spider web got onto the broom, and so when I flung it over the balcony, it didn't release. And so when I pulled
No.
the broom back, it came at me.
No.
It's the worst.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it was not a good time. I probably could have called maintenance and been like, please help me. But
Yeah.
part of me was a little stubborn. I'm like,
Yeah,
I can do
that's
this.
fair. Oh, yeah, that sounds. I'm happy I don't have to deal with that at least.
Yeah. I would be the one calling my significant other, going, please come kill this.
I do that a lot, to be honest. If Cat's not available, but
No, I don't blame you. I would do the same thing.
yeah. But unfortunately, or I is scared of bugs, but
Yeah.
isn't. So I has to kind of pretend like she's not afraid, but she's doing like a really bad job.
I was so confused by why May was so chill about how different I was at that moment.
Mhm.
Like it makes sense now because she knew. But
Yeah.
like like I'm like that would have been such a dead giveaway.
I know, right? Yeah. And like of course she doesn't kill any bugs, but they do the thing where they like fall on top of each other. Like,
You know, such a cute moment.
yeah. The cockroach almost kiss.
Yep.
um every episode kind of starts with like a little flashback, it feels like. So, we kind of find out that back in high school, is feeling very inferior to her golden child sister. And so she, at one point, she like writes a story, but she gets discouraged and she like burns it. So it's planting a little seed there. I'll come back later. And we also see that she has gotten into riding motorbikes with her friends for like fun and to de stress in like high school. So they're the motor punks.
My mother would have killed me.
I know, mine too. I
Like,
don't really know okay, at least where I live, riding a motorcycle is like something you do if you're like 55 and you like I don't know. It's like
so
not something like I don't know any like young people that ride
oh really?
motorcycles, but I think that's more of like a big city thing.
I mean, I grew up in small town Mississippi. My dad had a motorcycle when I was 6. That was my first time on a motorcycle. Was 6 years old.
Yeah. Like I
Um.
had family members who biked too, but it was like my great grandparents. And
Oh.
so I guess to me I was always like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of like an older person thing." Like I don't really see young people doing it as much, but it's
Yeah.
definitely like just a cultural difference for me.
Yeah. Cause I didn't have like any friends that rode or anything like that. Um. And then my dad always had a Goldwing, which is I to me is an older person bike, even though my dad was like in his 30s at the time. Um.
Old.
But yeah, right. As I say, as I'm like roughly the same age now that he was at that time. Oh God.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Even now, like he's got I think 2 motorcycles right now.
Mhm.
And then I have dated a guy who had a motorcycle who had 2 motorcycles.
Mhm.
He tried to teach me how to ride because I wanted to, but honestly, I think riding a motorcycle in the city is much more stressful than it is in like rural areas.
It's so dangerous like regardless.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have one. Because if I lived somewhere that
Mhm.
wasn't as busy, like that was,
Mhm.
I would absolutely have a motorcycle.
Yeah, it seems fun. I'm just like I'm too scared of driving a car as it is. I'm like I don't need the added like
Oh,
stress.
I would get in so much trouble. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Especially if you put me on like a racing bike or something instead of like a cruiser,
Yeah.
like a sport bike, like
Yeah,
something like what Pavel has. Like, oh, I'd be in so much
mm,
trouble.
I feel that. I think if I was younger and I like cared less about my safety, I'd be all about it. But I'm at the age now where I'm like, oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, it's it's the other people on the road that worry me, not myself.
Yeah,
So
me too.
yes,
Definitely. The
I think
drivers here are so bad. So
yeah, and
I'm constantly complaining.
people get mean about motorcycles, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
some of them are really annoying. I hate when people lane split, but
Yeah.
like there's no
Usually bikers are the nicest people, I think.
yeah, honestly, and like if I can tell people are being like really aggressive, I'll actually like get behind the motorcycle and keep like a distance to where like it's still comfortable for everybody, but like not where people
Mhm.
can jump in.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I will be a buffer from the back.
Aw, that's sweet. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
but yeah, good good for I to be on a motorbike because that means we get Nam 10 content on a motorbike.
Yay! Best part of the show.
Yes.
um, and back to present day. At least I is like trying to tell May the truth. Like she's trying to make an effort kind of, but every time she does, May ends up being like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy you came back to me." And I like chickens out.
Yeah, it's trying is being
Which
nice.
yeah, she's like had she like considered it maybe. But
Yeah.
at least we know that I or that May knows what she's doing. Like she knows she's trying to get I to not break up with her.
Yeah.
So it kind of I guess it all kind of cancels out in the end.
Yeah, I just if May had like, spoken up day one and been like, "You're not you know,
Yeah.
a lot of this would have been solved."
Oh, yeah, so much. But who needs to tell the truth in this
Right?
show?
Like if nothing else, you would have saved I like months of like anxiety.
Oh my god, this girl's she's like starting to lose it like as the show goes on. And to the side characters, Pim, who's the cop, and Jan, who is the tarot card reader, fortune teller. They find out that they're neighbors and they have a little moment. But Pim is dating how do they say her name? Do you
I
remember?
no,
Pang?
probably.
I think it may be Pang.
Punk, yeah.
But um Pim's dating Pung, who's the florist, but Pung keeps blowing her off and is like, yeah, not really treating her girlfriend too well. So that it gets a little messy there. It gets a lot more messy, but yeah. And condition, she's still in like a coma. Um, her condition gets worse, so I has to dip from May's house, and gets stabilized, and Grandma's like, okay, you should leave, but I feels lonely, and May's her only comfort, and Grandma won't even take a break from watching over like to eat or anything. So Grandma's like, oh, why did this happen to She was too good of a person. Like, she's smart, she's nice, she had a good job, she had a husband. And I is kind of like, well, I'm not smart, I'm not nice, I don't have a good job, I don't have a husband. Like, does that mean like this should have happened to me instead? Like, would you have rather this happened to me? Um, and like Grandma's very upset by this, of course, because she didn't really mean it like that. And so Grandma finally comes out and like eats and spends time with I. Yeah.
I don't really like grandma at this point, I'm not gonna lie.
I know I've throughout the show I do come to understand
Mm-hmm.
Grandma more.
Yeah.
I think honestly I and Grandma's relationship is the most interesting of the whole show.
Yeah.
Cuz like you kind of see both their sides to
Mm-hmm.
like what is happening and how they've grown up.
Yeah, it's more of an unfortunate situation than either of them really being a bad person to
Right.
to the other.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah, they all just kind of view each other in a different way than each other thinks.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
It's another one if some communication would have happened, 10 years earlier. Um,
Exactly. But instead, we're just going to let everything just like, we're going to push it down and then it's just going to like blow up in episode 7 or something.
yeah.
Um, and so after that, I think Grandma realizes that she maybe has been like neglecting I, and she doesn't realize that I has been struggling so much, and I don't think I realized that Grandma was struggling so much, so they kind of take care of each other a bit more, which
Mm.
is sweet.
Yeah.
Um, and then I goes to May's house, but May's parents are there, and they're having a fight with her, and her dad is like super aggressive and like really mad at May won't come home, and he's mad that May is gay, and he said that he's ashamed of her. Um, Unfortunately, May, she takes no shit from her parents. She's like, "Well, I'm ashamed of you too."
Yeah. For everything else, I do love that she definitely has a very strong backbone.
Oh
Um,
yeah. That is my pet peeve when like I understand why some characters like don't have a backbone. Like I understand like that's just some way that people are, but like
yeah.
as someone watching a show, it's nothing's more frustrating to me than when a character can't stand up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, good for her. Her
Yeah.
parents suck so
Yeah.
much.
Mom's kind of useless and dad's just an asshole.
Yep. Yeah, they're awful, terrible parents. So, yeah. And so May comes with I to her because May is like a deliver or I is a delivery driver. So May comes with her for the day, and some lady tries to scam I. She's like, "Oh, I just came back from Korea, so all I have are won. So will you should accept this won." And she gives her like 1,000 won, which is like $1, not even.
yeah.
And I was like, come on, lady, like, you're trying to scam me, whatever. But May pulls out her lawyer card and she's like, I was recording this whole situation and I'm a lawyer and we're gonna sue you if you do this. And so, of course, the lady, like, May is bluffing. She didn't record this, but it works. And the lady, like, actually pays her. And it's like, yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, it's cool to see, like, May just, like, owning people. So, yeah. And they're feeling pretty good. And after they deliver stuff, they go out to eat ice cream. And I's friend, who's also her ex, shows up. His name's Kosol. And this is the one played by Thor. And he pulls up on his bike. And he's very confused about the situation, like visually, like, because we'll find out later, but he recognizes May, and of course, he recognizes I, and he's like, "What's going on here?" But he doesn't say anything really.
Yeah.
But
I was confused
he's
why he was confused for so.
yeah, yeah. Everyone's confused here. But the sound of like his bike's engine brings back some trauma for May, and we learn a little bit about the night. We learn that the reason why she lost her vision is because she was attacked one night, lost her vision, and the person pulled up like on a motorbike that sounds the same as Kosol's. So, yeah, we don't know yet if it's the same person, whatever, but like May is suspicious.
Yeah. That's it's a whole nother layer of messed up.
It is. This is when it starts getting really like tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Not even tricky. It just starts getting like it's just like bad.
Yeah.
um and so after that, like that later that night, Jan and I, they kind of catch Kosal up to speed with everything because he's also their best friend. It's like the three of them and then their friend Ben. They were like four
Mm.
besties back in high school.
Yeah.
And so they kind of explain to Kosal what's happening. And he asks about Ben, who we don't know about yet. And Ben, we know, we find out is like their old riding partner, or he would like ride motorcycles with them. But he was in an accident and he's disabled now. And Kosal is like, you guys should visit Ben.
Yeah.
Which I guess they haven't been, which is like, just like, that's like, bro.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Like, you can't be, like, that's so hypocritical to be upset at your sister for like possibly breaking up with her girlfriend because her girlfriend went blind. And then you can't turn around and be like, oh yeah, I haven't visited my friend Ben since he was like, became disabled just because I feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we learn about Ben a little bit.
I feel bad for Ben.
I
Ben's
feel bad. Ben is the only good
yeah.
character.
He has like maybe 10 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, like towards the very end, but yeah, he's the only one that's like, the other characters are like, are they redeemable or not? But Ben, he just doesn't really do anything fucked up, so
Yeah. He's
that's
just
a plus, I
in a
guess.
yeah, victim of everything.
Yeah. And also Jan and Pim bump into each other again and they exchange contact, so we're getting a bit more flirty vibes from them. And I guess I really, really like May now. And so much that she's inspired to write again, which she gave up, remember, long ago when she burned her book for whatever
Mhm.
reason. And Peng is upset to hear this because plot twist, but she's like I've had feelings for you this whole time, like, and I guess this isn't news to I. Like, they knew this, but I guess they decided to stay friends. But Peng is like, well, at first when I confessed and you turned me down, I thought it was because you didn't like girls, and so I was okay with it because I thought like I didn't have a chance at all. But now that I know that you do like girls, like, why can't you like me?
Which that's not how that works.
Yeah. It's I guess like I do see her thought, her mentality. Like,
Yeah.
it's not right and it's weird, but like I guess I see what she means, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, but
But
it's that's just not how that works though.
no, you can't just be like, yeah, why not me? You should just date me instead.
Mhm.
Um yeah, and so that's like, also that's, you're just like ruining your friendship. Like
Yes.
she can't cope with this. It's like at this point, like, you need a break from each other so you can like get over this girl. Also, you have a girlfriend and
Yes.
she hears this conversation.
Oh, this hurt me.
I know. Pim also is just kind of a victim.
Yeah.
This whole show. She doesn't do anything except be a cop for a little bit at first and then just be like a victim to relationship issues for the rest of the show.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so May tells her cousin to look into Kosol because she was like, I think he's the one that attacked me that night. Um, and we see a little bit more of the attack. Apparently, like, May is trying to call for help, but Um's not answering. And May pulls over because her tires have been spiked, so she can't drive anymore. And then like a man on a motorbike rolls up and starts like bashing her car with a pipe.
Terrifying.
Um, Terrifying. Like, that's so scary. I'm pretty sure she tried calling the police, right?
Um,
Like I feel like I remember seeing her do that, but I don't know what happened with that call, if they just like didn't pick up.
yeah, I don't remember. I know she tried to call I feel like instead of calling the police, I think she tried to call again and like left a voicemail to
Yeah. See, that's
And she when she got out of the car, she like dropped her keys under the car so she couldn't even leave. Um
yeah. Yeah, very scary.
yeah,
That's some trauma right there.
no, for sure.
And I goes to May's house, but May's ex is there.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. And the ex, her name is Ploy, and wait, let me look up the actress's name. But she's in Sodus. She's
Her name's Neen.
Neen. Okay, she's the I think in Sodus her name was May.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I love when I see people from Sodus, because to me, if someone's in Sodus, they're like forever a Sodus character, like actor. It's like if you hear a song from the Shrek soundtrack, that's always like a Shrek song.
Yeah, even though it
That's like
was way
me.
popular beforehand.
Yeah, that's me and with every actor who's in Sodus. I'm
That's
like, oh
so
yeah,
fair
that's
though.
that guy from Sodus, and it's like Tay, or not Tay. It's like new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that happens to me anytime I see an actor in a show, the next show I see them in, even if they were like, they're lead now, right? And so like, it'll be like 3 shows later and they've been leads in 2 other shows and they were just like a passing character. I'm like, yeah, okay, but I saw them in that passing character role. So that's where I'm gonna associate them with forever.
Yeah, 100%. That's how I do it too.
Because that's like Thor. Thor's forever gonna be from Wandy Good Day now. Um,
Yeah, that was definitely like my favorite character of his. So that's
yeah.
what I think of first.
Mm-hmm. So I wish that pairing would have gotten another show.
I know. That's the one pairing. I mean, there's a couple pairings, but
Yeah.
like they've only been in that show together, and I desperately need to see them more. Like they were too
Yeah.
good.
I don't think they're gonna be like an official ship because like they don't do events together. That was like a one-off thing.
I know it. That makes me. It does make me really sad when it's like a great couple and great chemistry, and then it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Mhm.
bye.
Yeah.
I'm never doing this again.
Like, come on.
Yeah, the fans want it. At least I want it.
Hmm.
So
There's 2 of us that want it, so
yeah, that's enough. And we go to episode 5. Another flashback, of course.
Hmm.
So the twins are arguing because is telling I to get her life together because she's like, Grandma worries so much about you. Like, you're stressing her out. Like, get your life together. But I has this whole show, she has this huge inferiority complex, and she's just constantly like self-sabotaging.
Hmm.
Like, always. But, it's a character flaw, so it's like, it's understandable, but it is like hard to watch at points.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see more about this inferiority complex. May May, I, Ploy, and Ton are who's the ex and the cousin. They're having the most awkward dinner of all time. And I wants to impress May with this new place, but she like can't afford the dishes. So like when she goes there to pick up the order, she can't she can't like afford the food. So when she goes to pick it up, she's washing the dishes to pay for it. And it's taking a while. And she comes back with the food, but apparently like May can't eat spicy food and it's all spicy, and like so May can't eat it, and it's just awkward. And Ploy is like, well, I already ordered food from a different place, and she's very much like, well, you can't take care of her as well as I can. So they end up eating Ploy's food instead. And they kind of talk about like how much money they have. They're just like, "Oh, I spent this much on this thing, but that's not even much money," which and it is. And so like I
It's
feel
like
it's even
thousands.
worse. Yeah. It's like some like rich people out of touch shit.
Hmm. But I will say, like May sees what's happening,
Mhm.
C's. Um,
Yeah.
so like May's not like that at all. It's definitely like Ploy is the one who's instigating all of this.
Yes.
'Cause May's
It
like
is.
trying to be a normal person.
Yeah. And so okay, this is why like at this point I hated Ploy. I hated Ton.
Yes. Well,
Because I was like, these are just uppity rich people, like snobs. But like we do find out later that of course they're suspicious of her because they know that she's pretending to be her sister. And so obviously they assume she has bad intentions.
hmm
So that's why they're like purposely trying to make her feel like shit because they're like this shady person is doing this like is trying to deceive our friend.
Yeah.
And so like okay, I'm like okay, I it makes sense why they're being like so mean to her.
hmm
But like without that context cuz we don't know that yet, we just think that they're like terrible to I for no reason.
Yeah. I will say Ton didn't really do too much at this dinner. He was just kind of
No.
there. It was
He's
mostly
yeah,
ploy.
it's
He
mostly ploy.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess Ton's flaw is that he just doesn't do anything to help the situation. He just kind of sits there. But he also
Yeah.
doesn't really do anything to help anybody besides May. So,
That's true. Yeah. And I think Ploy does confront I for like she's like you're only using May for her money.
yeah.
So that's kind of the explanation we get for why they're acting like this.
Mhm.
Um, um so yeah, it's an uncomfortable dinner.
Yeah.
And but I does start borrowing laptop to write her novel because she's, you know, inspired by love with May.
mhm.
So she's doing that. Peng and Pim break up because remember Peng is in love with I and Pim heard that. But Pim is like, "Girl, why can't you love me? Give me a chance." And Peng's like, "No, I can't do this." So,
Ladies,
yeah,
come on.
stand up. And but Peng and I are still friends,
mhm.
which I don't know if that's the move, but I guess
Yeah.
they're chill about it. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like some space is necessary. I feel like cuz Pang's going to need to get like over her feelings.
Hmm. Yeah, I will say this is very. This understands like a queer woman's mentality of like. I feel like every queer woman has been in love with like one of their best friends at some point and has had some weird like relationship with that. And
Yeah.
so it's like, you know what, I kind of get it. Like this honestly if this because they're like queer women, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It like makes sense.
Yeah. So,
But I do think personally for me, if I was in love with my best friend and we just like can I had this whole meltdown about it and we continue to be friends, I'm like, I don't know if that would be healthy.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would torture myself and still be friends. I'm not going to lie. But
Mm-hmm.
I am not bold enough to be the one to ever confess my feelings. So, there's
Yeah, she really just yeah, threw
yeah,
it all out there.
she did.
I mean,
I
someone needs to speak their mind and it'll be Peng at least.
yeah, cuz I as much as I give characters in all these shows like grief for like not communicating, I
Mhm.
also probably don't communicate very well when it comes to this kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
the pot is calling the kettle black.
Yeah. It's easier to judge when we can just sit on the outside and like, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
observe it all and judge all of it. But hey, we have a podcast, so that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I'm here to judge.
We're here to judge. um and also Pim and Jan are becoming friends, but Pim is still super sad about the breakup. She's still not over Peng, but they're becoming closer.
Mhm.
So, and I has May read her novel, like what she's got so far, and she I guess she makes this like text to speech program thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like something that, so it like reads it out loud. And May is like, "Oh, it's not bad, but like it's very like straightforward and blunt. It's not as pretty as language as like you use when you describe things to me." And so, and I love this scene. They have this steamy bubble bath scene, and I said, "A la the Handmaiden," which I feel like the Handmaiden set the standard for steamy lesbian bath scenes. And I feel like if you're a GL, you have to have a steamy bath scene now because of the Handmaiden. And I'm here for it.
So I wasn't sure how far they were going to go in with the NT scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Just because since it is the GL so new that I wasn't sure if we were going to get baby steps kind of the way we did with BL, or if it's because BL has gotten kind of insanely racy that we were going
Yeah.
to go 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we landed somewhere in the middle, but closer to 0, you know?
I
Um,
agree. I honestly think that, like, even though there are NC scenes later on in the show, and there was like a small one earlier with like some of the side girls, um, I think this is like the raciest scene in the whole show.
it really was. This is where I was surprised. This is kind of what I was like, okay, so this is where our limits are. I got it.
Yeah. Cause yeah, it's very like sensual,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's not sexual, I guess.
Yeah, and it's not like as explicit as like when the guys are like humping each other, you know? Um
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's definitely like more catered towards like the women in a
mhm,
way.
yeah.
Um it's in the subtleties. And that's kind of how the handmaiden bath scene is too. It's like it's in the subtlety. Um but while they're doing this, May is kind of like massaging I, and they're kind of talking about like prose and like how, and like poetry and stuff, and like how to improve. Like it ends up helping I understand how to improve her language to be more uh like
Expressive,
beautiful,
yeah.
yeah, expressive. um yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a banger of a scene.
It was.
Yeah. um and so now, so I went and like rewrote her draft, and it's, the writing's better now, but there's only one chapter. And so May is like, to encourage you to, like, encourages her to like upload chapters as she writes, and she's like, "I'll give you a reward for each chapter you finish." So there's incentive now. All right.
Switch to from episode to chapter. Had chapter on the
Oopsie.
brain there.
Yeah. Chapter 6. That's exactly what happened to. Chapter or episode 6. Although this, I mean, this could be one of I's books that she writes, so never know. But of course, we have to start with a flashback, as always. And they're in high school, and Ben has decided to become a mechanic instead of going to college, because he's like, well, then if I don't go to college, my mom doesn't have to work so hard to save money to send me to college, because I'm just gonna go be a mechanic anyway. And I sees her grandma like saving and spending all of her money so that I can go to cram school. Um, and she like thinks about kind of what Ben said, and more on that later. Um, sorry, this kind of flips like back and forth, but basically we see that like I wants to learn how to make money from writing novels. And so she's like kind of got a plan for her future now that isn't college. And so grandma is upset, and this is present day, because she finds out that I's college certificate is fake. So this whole show they've been kind of talking about like, why don't you have a better job? You have a bachelor's degree, like you should be able to get a better job. But the certificate is fake because she didn't go to college when she said she did back in the day. So
Yeah.
I know, honestly, I feel like this is like my favorite episode just because it really gets into some of the complexities between like their family dynamics and like how their like class has like impacted and strained their relationships, and also like kind of explains their motivations for what they did because they didn't have the money, growing up. So yeah, I actually thought this episode, it was really like, I thought it was really well done. Yeah, because she's definitely, this kind of shows how she takes these burdens like for her family, like the sacrifices she makes at her own expense.
Yeah.
um and so we see that instead of going to college, like when she was like, oh bye, going to college for the day, she was actually going to work for Ben's mom. And Ben's mom, she does like the laundry for everyone. And because she didn't want her grandma to spend her money on her education because her grandma needed medicine. And so I kind of realized like, well, if I go to college, my grandma's not going to get the medication she needs. And so that's why she lied and she said, I got a scholarship to go to college, so can use your money for like medicine and stuff, which is so heartbreaking.
I still liked I at this point. Um,
Yeah.
I I felt really bad for her because it's such a tough decision to make. Um,
Mhm. Yeah. I honestly, I think I still like I.
yeah, I don't like anybody by the
She's
end.
she's one of the more likable characters, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um we'll see. I know there's a shit ton that happens after this that I've probably forgotten about, but um but she does tell her grandma like, I actually do have my bachelor's degree. I just didn't get it when I said I got it. I got it. Cuz we'll find out later, but she ended up getting her bachelor's degree like previously that year, like really recently.
Yeah.
And I just have a note, like the lighting of the scene is so good. Like this scene is beautiful. It's acted so well. The lighting's stunning.
This is one where they're
Um,
just sitting at the table, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're just in like
Like the dining room or something.
yeah, and I don't know why. I just like, I was really moved by this scene.
Mm-hmm. It was a really good scene.
Yeah, and they're both basically like upset about the sacrifices they made for one another and the sacrifices they made for and how it basically just doesn't seem worth it now that
Yeah.
she may or may not survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is just like, it's like devastating for everyone, because definitely like grandma is like, she feels like it's her responsibility to take care of them, and I think she feels maybe like
I
she failed because her granddaughters just like felt the need to not go to college to take care of her, and yeah. So I,
yeah.
at all angles, I see it.
Yeah. I mean that would definitely hurt me too.
Mhm.
I would feel very bad if I found out that my granddaughter skipped college so I could have medicine. Um,
Yeah. Oh, that's so fucked up.
yeah.
uh, as Americans though,
Yeah, I
we
mean,
understand.
absolutely.
We got it. um And so yeah, I kind of vents to May about what happened, but she like doesn't tell the full truth. But she's like, she tells what happens, but like, without the details. She just needs someone to talk to. Um, and then in the hospital later, Grandma's there, of course, and of course, is there, and she kind of tells them about her dream to be a writer, and she's like, "Hey, I have a plan. I'm writing this novel. I'm gonna try to get it published." And Grandma's supportive about this, which is great. That's really what I needs is just like some support and encouragement.
Yeah. Just some good love, you know.
Yeah, right.
No strings attached, just, you know, like not any like sexual, just like platonic love.
Yeah, she.
Some
Yeah, this
and some
this
therapy.
girl needs some like better friends or something too, cause like
Yes.
they're yeah.
Yeah.
And so at the hospital, she sees May and Ploy there, and they're there for May's checkup. And May is talking to Ploy, and she's like, "I'm not gonna go to your restaurant anymore that you're opening." And like Ploy's upset about this because I guess they were supposed to open it together before May went blind. And I guess May is like, the reason why I'm not going to go to the opening anymore is because your friends are going to be there and your friends suck and they're going to take pity on me. And I hate pity. That's like her main thing. She like hates when people pity her.
Yeah. Her police friends do suck though, so valid.
They suck so bad. Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess her like yeah, and then basically she's just like, yeah, my passions have changed. Like I don't care about the restaurant anymore. I just want to improve accessibility in Thailand. And so Ben's mom is dead. That's very sad. Um,
That was
they like
rough.
visit. I know. I was like, cause they do like you meet Ben's mom and you do kind of get to know her a little bit because they like worked for her like with
Yeah.
her like
It,
laundry business,
you
and so I was like really sad to see she died.
yeah, you only meet her in flashbacks.
Yeah.
Cuz she didn't just die.
No.
No, she committed suicide hoping the insurance money would help pay for Ben.
Oh,
But you don't get insurance money when you commit suicide.
no. That's
So
that's the saddest part of the whole show,
it is, and
to be
it's
honest.
that keeps happening in shows too. Um,
Mm-hmm. It kind
I
of does.
I need people to read the fine print so that they don't commit suicide.
I know. Poor Ben. Like,
Right? He just needs a hug.
bro, he needs so many hugs, and none of them from any of his current friends.
No.
He needs like a whole new friend group.
Hmm.
Maybe him and Pim can be friends. um, but yeah, so they like visit her at the temple, like her grave or plaque. I don't really know what it's called.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either because I don't know if it's actually like a tomb thing or if it's just a like a plaque.
Yeah, I'm not
Um,
sure either. I feel like in a lot of shows that I've seen that have like death, a lot of times they're like cremated, but I don't know if
yeah.
that's like the standard for Thailand or if that's just what I've seen in dramas. But
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know if like the urn is there like where the thing is or not.
yeah,
I
we'll
don't
have to research
yeah, I don't
Thai death customs. Pardon our ignorance.
yeah. So
But yeah, they visit her, but they don't visit Ben. I'm like, bruh, what are you doing?
I will say Ben at this point is I think moody and doesn't want to see people either. But
That's true, yeah.
um I
But
think
like
that
if like Thor Kosel, his
Yeah.
character, if he's visiting Ben, maybe the other two could put in an effort.
Right? There's a point where you just kind of bulldoze your way in, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you have to help them process and kind of move on. Like, they don't have to get over it, really, but like, you have to, like, live life at some
Show
point.
your support at
Yeah.
least.
So go in and go bother him.
Yeah. At least like yeah, make it obvious that if he like wants you to that you'll be there,
Yeah.
which they haven't done.
No. Bad friends.
Mhm. Um and then Pim and Jan are still friends. I guess Jan is moving, so Pim's helping her pack.
hmm
And I and May have like a little date at like a restaurant because I guess because May is like, well, I can't go to Ploy's restaurant, so I is like, okay, I'll take you to a similar restaurant. And then she like sings a song, and they like dance on the solar system, which just seems so random. I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not random, but it's just like different than the rest of the show because they're literally just dancing on like the solar system.
Uh, um, so the restaurant they went
Pluto.
to wasn't a real restaurant. It was, I set it up to be the same format as Ploy's restaurant so that she could practice maneuvering around.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
they still had the dance, but that's what the purpose of all that was is that was because I wanted May to go to Ploy's restaurant and like go support her friend
Mm,
and outside of the pity issue, the other part of that was not feeling comfortable in a place she was unfamiliar with,
right.
and
Okay.
because that's gonna bring more pity, right? If she's gonna be dependent on somebody instead of being able to get around without it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
That is correct. And then this is when we realize that May knows it's Ayun.
Yep.
So this is at end of episode 6 is when you're like, oh wait, May does know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, this changes things.
Yeah. I think my first question was how long has she known? Um,
Yeah.
like, is this a recent thing? Because I doesn't know how to act like or
hmm Like what gave it away?
yeah, like which personality trait? Because not like it's clearly two different people.
Yeah, definitely the bug. But no. But fortunately, episode 7 starts with May's point of view.
Mhm.
And so it turns out she's known from the beginning, basically. So May knew about accident once it happened. And so when I showed up at her door, she was like, oh, that's I. Which
Mhm.
this kind of gets rewritten a little bit later or like more added to it. But
Yeah.
because like later we'll find out that was like, if a lady shows up at your door, it's not me. But
That's so messy.
it gets really convoluted then. But at this point in the show, it does like make sense. Um, but yeah, so she knew from the first time she met, when she ran down and smooched her, she did know it was I. And then also we find out that they met even earlier. So way back when I was pretending to be at school and was like dressing as her and wearing her uniform, going to school, they met then. They had a little run in.
Mm.
So that will become way more important than it should be. But yeah, very important. And they
That
go to, what are you going to say?
that run-in is actually the turning point of the whole show.
It is. And I still don't understand how.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I understand how.
Okay.
I just think it's stupid. um we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I have thoughts.
Okay.
um Okay, so they go to Ploy's restaurant and May's phone is completely dead, which is important because someone's trying to call her and she's not getting the calls. But they dined with Ploy's friends, and my note just says May said feminism, and I don't remember what that was in relation to.
I don't.
I think the friends were talking about like marrying their husbands
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
being trophy wives or something.
Yeah, they were all talking about being, rich.
Yeah, I think they were like, yeah, I don't have to work because my husband's rich. And May is like, well, what if you break up? And it's kind of better to have your own career, I think.
Yeah.
So.
So, this is my first time seeing Mint in a show. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, me too, I think.
yeah. I don't know if it was her first show actually.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Uh okay, that hasn't aired. That hasn't aired. She did something in 2023 where she was a guest role. But it
Okay.
looks like besides that this was like her first, but even this is a guest role. um
Yeah.
so
Okay.
but we should get new stuff from her soon.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Um, and then, so I overhears the girls talk in the bathroom, and they're talking about how they're only like still friends with May because they're using her for her lawyer privileges. Because they're like,
yeah.
oh, well, if we need a lawyer, we're going to be friends with her because if we need a lawyer in the future, like, she'll be convenient.
Yeah, that's such garbage.
I know! You're literally gonna talk about this in the bathroom, like, while the person's there, like a public bathroom.
Yeah, people gotta learn when to gossip.
I know, not the time or the
No,
place.
no. Which I mean, I'm glad they did so that they got caught. But like,
Yeah,
don't do that.
yeah. And of course they're beefing because I is very confrontational about these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
She's very protective of May. Um and May, they're like fighting in like the parking lot. And May breaks it up and cuz she doesn't want to ruin Ploy's soft launch, and also she is feeling some like self-doubts, I guess.
Mm.
Which, like, girl, don't let it get to you.
Yeah.
But, it's natural. So, um okay. The reason why May's phone being dead is so serious is because Ton, her cousin, is calling and calling and calling. And finally she charges her phone and she picks up and he's like, and I don't know how he knows this, but he's like, "You're correct. Kosol was the one that whacked you. And the reason why he did this was out of revenge because you were the one who represented the guy that hit Ben, which was the accident that Ben ended up like being disabled from." And he's like, "But don't let I know that you know this because, or don't let I know that," oh god, this is when it gets confusing. "Don't let I know that you may know who she is because she could be in on this." Oh boy, there's a lot to unpack there. My first question is, how does he know that Kosol was the one that did this? Because Kosol never like got caught and never served any time for this. Like, how did he find out? Did she give him like the no? Because they would have had the plate number.
Yeah.
See, I have no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah. My only guess is that he pieced it together because of his ties to Ben. And that he has a motorcycle. So it's one of those,
Okay.
it's I don't know that they go and confront him then, because they do eventually go confront him about it, but
Yeah.
I don't I don't think Ton goes solo to do that. So it has to still be speculation. There's no way he would know for fact. It would have to
Right.
be
But he
speculation.
calls and he's like very certain.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he's correct. So
Mm-hmm.
he must have known somehow, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
Logically, I'm like,
Mm.
I don't know how you know this and the police don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah. So yeah, I did actually. So I saw this coming because earlier in the show we saw that May was defending someone from a like drunk driving case, and right away I was like, okay, that's the guy that hit Ben.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, why would they show this otherwise?
Yeah.
Um, but it is. I do like when shows, they come a little. They plant these little seeds. They come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So that's kind of a lot to take in at the moment.
Yeah.
And then, what does this mean?
Uh, um.
Oh, okay.
Oh. I tries to start a fire.
Yeah. Okay. So they talk on the phone, whatever. He's like, don't let her know you know this. Instead, you have to make her like really, really fall in love with you. That way, she won't do whatever
Uh,
bad thing she's planning or some
yeah.
shit.
Not that she's
But
planning anything.
yeah, she's not planning anything, so we can skip that.
Yeah. It's such a
But
weird like place to jump to.
I know, right? And then we jump to a fire because I leaves on the burner and oil. She like tries to burn the restaurant kitchen down. Um, uh, and like her and May have left, and I mean, she's not trying to burn down the building, but that's extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
And of course, it sets off like the sprinklers and the fire alarm, and she's basically just trying to get back at the friends for, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being awful, which like kind of works, but.
Yeah.
But Ploy is like, they know she started the fire, but she's like, you know what? I'll let it slide because those girls said like really shitty things about you. And also, I just like really want you, May, to come to the opening tomorrow. So Ploy's not like that upset about it, but
Yeah, which is also a little weird to me because the water damage that would have caused.
yeah. Like, I'd be like, oh my god, you try to burn down my brand new restaurant on the soft launch? Like,
Yeah, like come on.
yeah. Um, and so we go and we see Jan and Peng, and I guess somehow they know each other now, which I don't think we've ever seen them interact prior to this.
Yeah. I
Right?
think there was one scene somewhere where they met, and that's
Okay. I think there must have been. I just didn't
yeah. There was a scene
write
somewhere
it
I don't
down.
where they met, and that's what led to them going together to get stuff. I don't. They might have met at
Right.
the hospital.
Yeah,
Um.
there was some reason, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to say they met at like at the hospital or something.
Okay.
Um. But they did meet before this just briefly, but that's where they ended up here.
Okay.
Um.
Yeah, because they go together to get stuff from Paul's house, who's the husband,
Yeah.
which is is the second Death Stare house.
Yeah, I love that your note is that it's Ming's family's house from my stand-in because this house is forever Payu's house in
Yeah.
Love in the Air for me. Like no other house. That is what this house is.
So from the inside, it's Payu's house, but from the outside, like with the big rolling lawn, that's Ming's family's house.
Isn't that the same house though? I thought that's all the same property.
It is. It's the same
Oh,
property, but
yeah.
for some reason, when I see the outside, I think my stand-in, and then
Yeah.
I see the inside, and I think Love in the Air. But I saw the outside first, so I was like, "Oh, this is Ming's
So,
house."
I think that's because we don't get an outside shot from Payu.
Yeah, I don't think we
So,
do either.
no. But then
But yeah,
there's another show. What did I rewatch recently? Um, because they also use this house and you see the outside on it too. I don't remember what it is
mm.
now. Oh, between us.
Oh yeah.
It's Wynn's house in between us, and I think it's something one of the other shows I'm watching right now at somebody's house. Um,
Mm. From the outside, it kind of reminds me of like the Parasite house
yeah, I can see that.
a little bit. I mean, it's a beautiful house. I
Mm-hmm.
see why they use it
Yeah,
for so many shows.
I just wish the stairs had handrails.
Me too. It stresses me out every
Ever,
time.
yeah, the rest of the
And
house
it's
is
so dark
beautiful.
inside. Like,
Yeah,
get a
that's
lamp.
there's I think they painted the inside. Whatever show I'm watching right now, I don't remember which one it is. I'll have to keep an eye out.
Hmm.
But I want to say that's what's throwing me off is I think they painted the inside like white.
Oh, yeah. Usually it's just like black and like
Yeah,
it's also in the player too.
of course it is.
Yeah, of course.
We should
Um,
ask Mac about it. Was he in that house?
yeah, he was actually. Damn, we should have asked him.
Next time.
We're really curious about this random ass house. Did you go
So
up the stairs?
our next time we'll have to be like, okay, can you explain to us why Thailand is against handrails?
Yeah, I need to know.
So it's a reoccurring thing.
Yeah,
I I can name at least 3 houses that I've seen in shows now.
I know. Dangerous.
It
But they
stresses
don't go
me
up.
out.
Yeah. At least like in this show they don't go up the stairs, so I don't have to like
Yeah.
think
Thank
about that as
thank
much.
thank God.
Yeah, I know. They basically just like go in and to grab stuff. And then but we get like a flashback of Jan, and Paul hanging out there. And we find out that he knew that didn't love him,
So sad.
even though they were. I know. He was like, yeah, we're engaged. I know she doesn't love me. I know she loves her ex, but like, I'm going to win her over.
Yeah.
Which is not the mindset to have. Like,
Yeah.
it is kind of, it does feel kind of icky because it does kind of feel like, oh, I'm going to lock her into this relationship, so she has to love me and like, can't
Yeah.
leave me. I mean, he's not doing it like menacingly.
No.
He's doing it like pathetically,
Yeah.
but like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little awkward. I'm like, my guy, you could find somebody who actually loves you. Please stop.
Yeah. I know she's beautiful, but you can definitely find someone better than who
Mhm.
actually loves and cares about you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I do feel bad for him a bit,
Mhm.
but and May and they go to the opening party for the restaurant, and they're both dressed in these gowns, but I think May looks so stunning.
Yes.
They're wearing these like coordinated like blue, like light blue gowns. And
Mhm.
I's kind of looks just like a prom dress. I mean, she looks beautiful, of course.
Yeah.
But like May has this one dress where it has like the scarf thing that wraps around, and I think it really suits
Mhm.
her.
Yeah. I one thing I will say I called a little bit of bullshit on was when they were picking dresses out and it was like them sort of describing the dress to me of like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a blue color and like maybe one detail of like what kind of dress it is. Like not a very thorough explanation at all. And May
Uh-huh.
would just be like, "No, not this one."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You don't know what it looks like.
I
What are you
know.
talking about?"
Yeah, they're like, yeah, this one's like a blue poofy dress. She's like, that's the one.
Yeah.
I also, yeah, it does. I mean, I once again, similarly to when I watched Last Twilight, I am kind of like, I do wonder what the blind community thinks of the representation in the show.
Yeah.
Cause like, I don't know that much. So like, I don't know if blind people like care that much about like color and things, you know?
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, I think they do, especially if you just from what I've seen, I think you care more if you saw color beforehand. Like, right, like
Mm,
May's only been blind for a couple of years.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
so like it wouldn't take as much to describe something to her, but it was definitely one of those of like it literally it'd be like she's wearing like a blue whatever like A line or something like that, and that's all they would go off of Like no
Mm-hmm.
details or anything. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, give her a little more at least.
Yeah. I'm like, we could have
But
skipped that scene and just been like, yeah, May put us both in these dresses, and that would have been better.
I know. They just wanted to show us
A
Namtan
montage.
in some pretty
Yeah.
dresses and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, she looked great and everything, so.
Yeah. And then at the party, a fuse blows because they're using too much power. And so the power goes out, which, I don't know.
You know,
And I was confused with this at first, but it makes sense later. But I was like, oh, is Tun flirting with Ploy? And the answer is yes. He was.
yeah.
And May and I, they to like stall and keep the guests entertained so they don't leave. They do these like shadow puppets with like a flashlight,
Mm-hmm.
and they save the party until the power comes back on. Everyone is so entertained by them. And after that, Ploy and I, they like apologize to each other and make up. Um, and I guess like Ploy and May weren't really a thing because I guess May could never get over her first love. So
Who is
this is
I?
where this is where this comes in.
Again, the friend that wants to be more and can't be.
Yeah,
So both
first
of them
love
having that
too
issue.
good. Yeah, right.
But first love being somebody you met for 30 seconds.
Yep. And that's the one and only. You can never meet anyone else.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, at least finally after this, May and I, they say I love you and they kiss again for literally the second time in the show after the first time they meet.
Does it really take this long?
I swear to God, I don't remember them kissing any time in between.
That's crazy. Like I can't think of it either. I don't think I realized that it was that big of a gap.
No, because I remember just like waiting and waiting and being like, because they kissed like right away off the bat, and so I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
like they're not gonna be shy about this, but then they were, because I'm pretty sure this is the next time they kiss.
This is why May and never slept together.
Yeah, right. Honestly. um. Yeah, because okay, after this, May is like, "You're my first love," and I panics and she runs away and like gets drunk on the curb. And because she's thinking she's like, "Oh shit, like this
Yeah.
I'm her first love. I'm not Oh god." And Tun gets brings her back cuz Tun is just there to like mediate
Yeah.
things kind of or just be present.
Hmm.
And
He's a very good plot
May
device.
he's a great plot device. That's his role. And May tells her that she knows she's not and I guess her plan is the plan is to get I to love her so much that she'll forgive her for the Ben thing because May feels like she's in the wrong for representing Ben's I think his name's Batman? Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that hit Ben. But I is drunk, so she falls asleep and she doesn't hear any of this, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's quite the plan.
Yeah. It's a little
Yeah,
manipulative.
a little bit. Yeah, everyone's very manipulative in the show, and they don't really like paint it to be that way.
No, but it is.
It is, yeah. So, episode 8. This is when we start getting really messy and really confusing. Um so 2 years ago, someone threatened to send pictures of and May to her boss as like a expose kind of thing. And May is pretty positive that it's her father is the one doing this.
I hate this man.
I hate this man so much. And yells at May for defending Batman because knows Ben, because Ben is her sister's friend. And she was like, Ben's mother took her own life. This is where we find out about Ben's mother and her taking her life to use the insurance money, but, you know,
You don't
they
get that
didn't get the
money.
payout. Yeah. And my thing about this is like, listen, if you're going to be a defense attorney, I don't know if you can be choosy. I think you kind of just have to throw your morals out the window in general. Is
Yeah.
like my understanding of a defense attorney, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're in there to prove your client's innocence, so or
Mhm.
get them out of as much as possible.
Yeah. So
But
that's kind of why I don't get why they all like blame her for this, cuz it's like I mean, do she didn't like do the crime. She's
I
just kind of like doing her job to
yeah,
lawyer.
yeah, I mean, but at the same time when it's somebody that's hurt somebody
Mhm.
right? Or like you're like if May thinks she really loves and then it's somebody knows it's hurt, like, and you're gonna defend the other person and screw friend over, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
You
yeah,
shouldn't do.
no,
Maybe
but
you yeah.
yeah, but also May didn't really have a choice. Like her dad forced
No.
her, so
Yeah.
like
Um so yeah, I guess it does make sense, but I also like I don't know if I would have blamed May for this, but
without
there's a
knowing
lot of
that,
things people don't know.
yeah, without knowing that her dad forced her, like
Mhm.
I absolutely would not forgive her for that. You don't have to take on other like every case. Like
Yeah,
you
that
can
is
say no to that.
yeah. I guess I kind of forgot that they like had a relation like and
Yeah.
Ben. But yeah. Um and so we find out that the reason that and May fought like right before she was attacked is because found out that May actually, so her first love was actually but when I was pretending to be in high school. And
But
so she's like, "Oh, you actually like my sister, not me," even though they met for like 10 seconds. But
yeah. Um yeah.
this is like the beginning of the first love plot device just like not working for me.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Um I guess it wasn't like all like well, I mean no, because they talk about it with Ploy. So I was gonna say like it looked like she was living her life after that until she ran into later. Um
Mhm.
but like if Ploy was like, yeah, it never worked out because she never got over her first love, that would have been in that time in between. Um
Yeah. And so yeah, I just don't understand. I just don't see the importance to I feel like there is such an emphasis on like your first love being your most important love,
yeah,
which I
definitely
don't
not.
I think that's like total BS to be honest, but I do see that as like a plot device used very often in dramas.
Yeah,
Um
I mean, I feel
and
like
they just
it's
very heavily rely on that fact.
yeah, I feel like it makes sense if it was like an established relationship, but like
Yeah.
I and May's interaction was literally just I rescuing May from some bully girls and then going about her life.
Yeah, I don't know if you can call it a love. Like that's like maybe your first crush.
Yeah.
And I also feel like if you okay, let's say you fell in love with this girl from knowing her for 10 seconds and then like years later you start dating her identical twin sister. I feel like that's good. That's close enough. Right?
I mean, yeah,
Like
cause
that's
it
basically
because May didn't know, right? May didn't know she was a twin.
yeah.
So, so May thinks this entire time that she's been dating the girl that saved her, right?
Mhm.
So, but goes off the deep end.
Yeah. It, like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal,
Yeah.
but it's a huge deal for everyone for the rest of the show. So,
Yeah.
it's apparently May's only person she can ever be with is this one girl she met for 10 seconds in high school.
Yeah.
No one else has any chance, even her identical twin sister, who she knows way better and actually has a relationship with. But
Thank God
okay.
my only dating option is not who I first, had feelings for in high school because
Yeah.
oof.
Oof. Yeah, I agree. Big oof there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we move on to bigger and better
Mhm.
things and higher standards.
Yes.
um, and then we also see a lot of flashbacks here. We also see May's attack once more, and we see that it's definitely Kosal that did it.
Mhm.
And I guess the thing is, everyone is blaming May for this instead of the actual drunk driver. Like, everyone is so mad at May for defending this guy, but, like, no one's. They're like, oh, you're the reason why Ben's mom killed himself. But I'm like, you guys should maybe blame Batman, I think, maybe the drunk driver,
Yeah.
perhaps.
I mean, and
Like,
Batman's definitely at fault, but May is so good at being a lawyer that she got him out of most of the money he was gonna have to give, and then
oh, that's true. That's true.
yeah.
Okay.
So he got a really light sentence, and then he basically didn't have to pay anything, right? Like bare
Okay.
minimum. So I'm like, I get why people are mad at her. Like there,
Mm-hmm.
it's twofold, but it's one of those like Batman is like this nobody, right? That we don't know him. He's not anyone. Whereas May is literally like the significant other who
Mm-hmm.
just screwed. Like it goes back to that where it's like she screwed over Ben, and that's why Ben's mom commits suicide then because there's not enough money to take care of Ben. So she's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
right. So like.
Domino effect.
Yeah, so it's one of those if May had not done her job well or had not taken the case, and a different lawyer had done it, maybe they wouldn't have gotten Batman out of all of this, and then Ben
Mm-hmm.
would still have a living mother.
Yeah.
So
But I still don't think it's fair to be like, you're the reason Ben's mom is dead.
no, it's just an easier person to
Like,
blame than
yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is also when, back then when tells May that I think before this she didn't say why she was so upset at May, but she's like, "Oh, I'm actually mad because you don't love me. You love my sister, who
Hmm.
is actually the one you met, who is pretending to be me."
Yeah,
So,
that was a rough scene to watch.
yeah. Is just kind of awful in general.
Hmm. Although I will say later on when basically tells her version of this, it makes a little more sense.
It does,
It's
yeah.
it's not as toxic.
No.
Um, because
Yeah.
Is like as mean as possible to May at this point when she's um like wishing her like the worst ever type of a thing. And it's
Mhm.
like what are you doing? Why are you this mad at her for something she didn't know?
Yeah, it feels very out of nowhere. And then we learn like she's like manipulating May to help her and I be together, but like it's still not good to manipulate people, so it's
Yeah,
like still kind of crummy, but
right?
yeah,
Like
we get more reasoning on that later.
at that point you sit down and you have a conversation of hey, that person you met was my twin. But
Mhm.
at the same
Do
time
you
it's
still want to be with me maybe?
right? Because it's like it's me that you've been with this entire time. So like, you know?
Yeah, like maybe give May a choice.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's too
no.
easy.
Yeah, no one wants to do that. And Ploy also knows Uma's eye, which we talked about a little bit earlier, but this is when
Mm.
you find out. And May tells I the story about how she met her first love so that I can realize that it was her,
Mm-hmm.
but I does not remember this like at all. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't realize
This was such an
like that she was
unimportant.
yeah. She clearly did not feel the same about May right away as May felt about her, which is kind of
Awkward.
embarrassing. But yeah, then we see the scene where like May's being bullied and I saves her. It's very quick. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
glad that impacted your life so much. um and then grandma is looking at like the laptop that I's using and sees like that I is pretending to be and she's hanging out with May. And so grandma's like, "What are you doing? You're pretending to be your sister and you're dating her girlfriend."
Awkward.
And yeah, I'd be so concerned. I think grandma is mostly concerned about this. Like
Yeah.
she's not angry.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so I like cries to her grandma, which is good. She needs some support other than from May, who she's lying to, and like her friends who bash women until they're blind.
God.
Um, and okay, in a little flashback again, May. So this is how May and meet. May sees like a pilot, and he's like harassing and like assaulting and they meet through that. I don't remember exactly what happens. She like steps in or something.
She does the lawyer thing again where she records it and threatens his job and he walks
Right.
away.
Good move, yeah.
Yeah. I when I first saw this, it had been so long since we'd seen Paul in the show that I thought it was Paul for a minute. And
I
I
thought it
was
was
like
Paul at first too.
and I was like, "Oh, so we don't like Paul."
Yeah. I know. I thought that at first. I was like, no, wait, this can't be Paul. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
not Paul. It's just some
it's a
crummy
pilot
pilot.
because
Yeah.
Is a flight attendant. So,
Oh yeah, important. Yeah. Um, and so like that's how the relationship begins. And during the relationship, like is very like jealous and insecure that May doesn't love her. Because I guess May doesn't love her,
yeah.
technically. It's such a technicality. It's I don't know.
Right?
Like May thinks she loves her because she does love her, but whatever. It's something you have to kind of accept that just won't make 100% sense and just like
Yeah.
go with.
I mean, I kind of get with what we find out in like episode like 11 or 12 or whatever, like feelings on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I get why she kind of goes off the rail here because May was supposed to
Yeah.
be like the one person that was hers,
Mm-hmm.
and then it wasn't. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, here we go with this. So May gets the news that I guess the reason why she was blind because she had like a brain bleed, and so that was causing her blindness. But
hmm
the bleed had stopped, and so her vision is supposed to come back gradually.
yeah, I
So it.
it is that how that works? Can you just get
Okay,
your vision back like that?
I don't know, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
But I also just want to know what Thai shows have against having a blind character and
there's
having them just stay blind like most
yeah,
blind people are.
yeah. No,
You know?
you only get partial inclusion.
Yeah. Like
We get to cure you. That's
I, I know it just feels bad. Like I know when like last Twilight did this, it was controversial.
yeah.
And I know the show was announced at the same time as last Twilight.
Was
So
it?
like it was. Yeah, they were
Oh
announced during the
gosh.
same. I know. That's how long it took to like
Yeah.
make.
But
Um,
also announcing two different blind shows at the same time.
and also there was another twins show that was announced at the same time that wasn't GMMTV, but I was like, wow,
Oh,
so many twins and like that too.
it's like this year's tarot cards.
It is, yeah, that's how what it was before. But yeah, that's just like I don't know. I don't think it makes them less of a person or it makes their story less important if they don't gain their vision back. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like it just feels bad, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then this shit too. Oh my, I did not see this coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jan, Pang, and Pim they meet coincidentally because I think Jan and Pang are hanging out and like Pim's there. And it's like a bit awkward, but it's chill at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then I guess Pang moved on from I and now she likes Jan,
Yeah, that makes sense.
which I was thrown for such a loop because I was sure that Pim and Jan were going to be endgame.
Mm-hmm.
But it was this okay, okay. We'll get they do more a little bit later, but also it's just so like pointless. Like it adds nothing to the story. But I do respect this is like one of the first actual like love triangles I think I've seen in a show, and I respect him for that.
Yeah. I just it's so confusing to me still. Like I'm like, okay, I don't know who's who again. Pim is
They
the
move on really quick.
yeah. Pim
P-
is the cop, right?
Pim's the cop.
Okay.
Pang is the florist who was dating Pim at the beginning
Okay.
of the show.
Yeah.
And then Jan is the fortune teller who was dating Pim a little bit,
Oh,
except
okay.
Pim couldn't get over Pang. So now Jan and Pang are dating.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a
Sure.
proper mess. It's like a proper love triangle though, which
Yeah.
like at least like I feel like with other Thai dramas that I've seen, like if they have a love triangle, it'll be like very clear which two are meant to be together, and then the third one like never has a chance. But
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? At least with this, they tried out all the different angles, and I respect it for that. So, um, and so I and Pang are talking, and Pang is like, well, maybe remember when you used to dress up in her uniform all the time? Maybe you're May's first love. And then I is like, oh my god, I remember. I am her first love. So that's good news.
Yeah.
Because that was such a huge deal. So glad she remembered.
That would mess with me so much if I like made my like entire love like um history on this one meeting and then I meet the person again and they're like, I don't remember this.
I know.
Right?
I
Like
would I would feel so embarrassed, honestly.
right? Like how do you come back from that?
I know. Like this
Like
is like the most formative moment of my life.
yeah, like that's when
And
I
then
like
I was like, I don't know.
changed my name, moved to Chiang Mai, you know, like
Yeah.
like or go move to an
Yeah.
island or something, you know, start over.
No, I really would at that point.
Yeah.
This
I
just I would do that to just escape this whole mess.
yeah.
um and then it's episode 9 and we do find out a little bit more about Ton and Ploy. And I guess so the reason why they were flirty is because they did used to date actually, but they were forced to break up by I guess Ton grew up with May's parents, so
Mhm.
he had those shitty parents too. And dad was like, if you don't break up with Ploy, I'm going to not fund your medical school tuition.
I hate this man.
I hate this man so much. And of course, mom just bystanders by while her husband's like being abusive.
I also hate mom.
So, yeah, we love a woman who doesn't do anything to stop abusive behavior.
Yep.
Um and May is starting to see a lot better now. She's regaining her vision now that her brain is okay. And wiggles her finger. She's still in a coma, but she wiggles her finger. So people are recovering. And Pim realizes that she's still not over Pang. But Pang shoots her shot with Jan. So the love triangle is just love triangling a bit
Yeah.
more. Also, Batman is being sued for stock manipulation. This man needs to stay out of trouble. And May thinks her dad has something to do with it because he was the one that made her represent Batman. So similarly to how he kind of manipulated Ton to break up with Ploy, he was like, you need to represent this man back in the day, which I think they talk more about later, but basically for the stock manipulation thing, her dad is like, you need to represent him again. And then May is like, I know a good lawyer, but I think she's busy. Like, basically, like, I'm not going to do it. And May and they go on a camping trip away for the first time in her new van. And then they have sex for the first time here. So, good for them. Yeah, about time. I do think it's, like, weird that... So, May still hasn't told that she's getting her vision back. So, I... I wonder if just, like, after this whole show's done, just sits and is, like, thinks back to all the times when she thought May couldn't see her, but she could. You know? But, okay, but big news. Is awake. She has amnesia, though. Of course. Why not? Just throw it in there. But it's only, like, they call it short-term amnesia, but basically she doesn't remember anything since meeting Paul. So she doesn't remember Paul at all. She just only remembers that May is her partner. So she keeps asking for May, which is extremely awkward for everyone. Me too. I'm like, maybe just tell her. And so this is when tells she's like, oh yeah, my girlfriend is the attorney that defended Batman, which I did not know that yet. So that's news to her. Yeah. And visits Ben finally. And Ben reminds her that he was like, you were the one that told Kosel to attack the attorney. Which I guess I forgot about or something. But Kosel comes and, like, I's a wreck because now she blames herself for May's blindness. But she's not even blind anymore. Which, again, it's like, okay, maybe you were like definitely like complicit in this, but you weren't the one that physically attacked her.
I would also have spiraled. I'm not gonna lie. I would have spiraled. Direct or indirect,
Yeah.
having a hand in that would just ruin me.
Yeah. I mean, it's very bad all around. You should not attack random people, even if they defended the person that
Yeah.
hit your friend, you know?
Yeah. Don't do that.
Like, just the moral of the show is that more violence is bad and will just create more and more problems for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, episode 10. When the Ben crash happened initially, so flashback again, Grandma saw it on the news and she saw that, like, a biker was hit and, like, paralyzed. She thought it was I, and she, like, collapsed when this happened. And so I was okay from the crash. It wasn't her. But they had to take Grandma to the hospital. And tells I, she's like, you need to, like, I will pay for you to go to school. You need to stop taking risky jobs that worry Grandma. Like, she's like, you're stressing Grandma out. She's gonna have a heart attack because of you. I will pay you to go to school. um, which I believe is how she ended up actually going to school and getting her bachelor's degree, which she lied about previously. So, and I goes to see May after ghosting her for a bit, and Kosol finally convinces I to tell the truth. Like, he's like, you need to tell her, whatever. She's like, yeah, I do. But then she still chickens out. Like, and this point of the show, I'm like, oh my god, get on with it. like, like, like May, like May knows who you are. Like, it's fine, get it on with it. But May is just like meowing in this scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my fucking god, like, just get on with it, you know? Okay, my thing with, like, character relationships is I love angst, I love tension, but, like, not this kind.
Yeah.
Like, they're so insta-lovey, like, right away. But then the angst is like, you're the reason that my friend's, like, mom killed herself, whatever,
Yeah.
but I still love you. And I'm like, okay, that's
Okay.
not exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, it's not my favorite, like, romantic trope, but pop off, I guess. So basically I gives back to May.
Yeah.
So this is so, once again, let May make a decision, maybe. Like, she hates people pitying her, and, like, so this is what you're doing. But May wakes up and she can see clearly now. And walks in, and May knows it's She knows it's not I. Um and even Grandma is like, maybe there's a better solution to this.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I was like, yeah, I agree. Like, that's, you can't just, like, trade sisters in and out and think that May is gonna be okay with that.
Personalities? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and also, like, is not gonna have any memories from the past couple months or whatever that you've been together. Like, it's gonna be so obvious. Like, May knows it, like, immediately.
Yeah.
Like, even if she couldn't see, she probably would still know it immediately.
Yeah. Because she does test her at one point, but I did give, like, a crash course.
Yeah.
So, which it was a crash course, and for somebody who has amnesia, has solid memory.
Yeah. And so May meets up with Kosol, and he's, like, ready to turn himself in about the whole May situation, or, like, about blinding her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But May's like, no, don't do that. What you should do instead, like, how you can atone for this, is you can take me to Ben so I can apologize for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he accepts. And so, like, also, I think she's paying for Ben's, like, caregiver and, like,
Yes.
the facility he's in and stuff. So she's trying to atone for that, and she I guess she like forgives Kosel for attacking her because she feels guilty about the situation. She feels at fault for the situation too.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and I will say, through all of this, the one scene that made me cry was the scene where she goes and apologizes to Ben.
Mm,
When
yeah,
she
it
when
is.
she gets on her knees and like bows down and apologizes, I cried.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only time I cried in the
Yeah.
show, but I cried.
Yeah. I. It is. It's sad. I understand her guilt, but like, she didn't know Ben at the time, you know? So it's like, it's not. I mean, it sucks, but it's not like she did this to someone she knew.
I mean,
And also, she was like forced to do it, kind of.
yes, I mean she was forced to do it, and
But
that's what it comes down to. But it's one of those whether or not she knew
yeah.
Ben, getting Batman off easy. Like I know that's her job, but
Hmm.
like it's still a shitty thing to do.
Yeah,
You
it
know? So
is.
it's like, okay, like yeah, this is what's gonna happen sometimes, I guess, but like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess May also asked Koso, like, why did I leave? And he's like, oh, well, I blames herself for the reason why I hurt you, which is why she's like, she left you and swapped in her sister,
Mm,
like you wouldn't notice.
yeah, that's fine, right?
And poor can't figure out what the hell is going on. I feel so bad for at this
Yeah,
moment. Because imagine, like, you come out of a coma and you're like, oh, where's my girlfriend? And then your sister's like, oh, here's your girlfriend. I've been keeping her company, but don't worry about it. And then you go, and then your girlfriend's like, you're not the right girlfriend.
yeah.
But doesn't say that. But, like, she's so confused.
Mm-hmm. Because she can tell
Reason.
something's off.
Uh huh.
So,
Like, none of her relationships are as she remembered them. And also, everyone's hiding the secret that she's a widow.
yeah,
Like, they're hiding that she got married and her husband died
yeah,
the night of their wedding.
yeah.
Yeah. And so she asks Jan for help. She's like, Jan, tell me what's going on.
Mhm. Jane finally gives in.
Yeah. Which, like, if I was Jan, I would too. Because I'd be like, you guys, this girl's been through enough recently. Like, you can't just leave her in the dark and just pretend like everything's okay.
Yeah, I think part of that, I think the doctor said that it might overwhelm her, and that was why it was like
Mm
easier into it, see if her memory comes back first before you announce that she has a dead
hmm.
husband. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no.
But yeah, don't set her back up with your girlfriend who's her ex-girlfriend.
Right?
Like, that's just gonna make it way overwhelm her much more,
Yeah.
which it does.
I mean, it's when this is where I messed up, right? With I pretending to be this entire time. So,
Yeah. Yep. And so I goes to May's house and leaves a flower, but May sees her because May can see now.
hmm
And so I finds out that May can see, and she also knew about I and Kosal. She basically finds out that May knows everything.
that would
Like,
that would fuck with me so much.
yeah, I know. It's it's also kind of just like I I know I is insecure about being dumb, but like you really think May didn't know a single thing this whole time, and yet she knew literally everything.
hmm
Like,
Sure.
like you didn't realize she figured out any of this, but anyway, I guess good for them
hmm
because May is like, listen, we're even. We've both been lying to each other, kind of, and yeah, it cancels out. So they cry and make up. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Episode 11.
This was a doozy of an episode.
This episode is wild. So, is watching this reunion and she's spying on them, and she cries, and because she feels like she's always been in Ai's shadow, so she feels insecure about, like, in relation to her sister, which is interesting because Ai's always felt insecure in relation to for different reasons.
Mm.
And basically what happens is that um this is when we find out officially that May took the Batman case in exchange for her dad leaving her and alone. Because she was trying to, like, I think she was taking the money that she got from the case, or I don't know. Her dad was like, if you take this case, like, I won't force you to break up with your girlfriend. I'll stop sending pictures to your boss to try to out you and, like, ruin your career or some shit.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, thanks, Dad of the Year award.
Good God.
Yeah, what a piece of work.
For real.
Yeah. But when found out that I was May's first love, she started to leave the relationship. But she didn't fully leave, so she refused to break up with May because she wanted to prevent May and I getting together. So that's how she ends up kind of being the affair partner, where she never broke up with May officially. So they're technically still in a relationship, even though she's now in a relationship with Paul. And I don't think that's how relationships work.
I never
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I never understood this because, like, what do you like? May could just be like, okay, but I'm breaking up with you and being done with it.
Yeah, like, you're not married, you're not getting a divorce. A breakup can be, like, one-sided. It can literally be one person being like, I'm breaking up with you, and that's it. Like,
Yeah,
you don't both have to mutually decide to break up. Like, that's literally not how relationships work.
no, and so I never understood why May just accepted to suffer.
Yeah, I didn't either. I still don't. um and then we also find that gave May a heads up that she was sending I to break up with her. So she was like, "Oh yeah, my twin sister's going to pretend to be me and she's going to come break up with you as me."
Great.
Cool.
Love that for us.
Thanks. Thanks, Love the relationship we had.
Right?
Glad this is how it's ending.
What is happening?
I don't know. And the sisters hug it out and they basically tell each other that they never hated one another. Okay.
Cool. Could have
Yeah.
fooled me.
Yeah, right. And May tells Kosal to work at her foundation for people with disabilities. And this is how Kosal's supposed to, like, atone for making May disabled
Yeah.
for a bit. So yeah, he's working there. And yeah.
He's happy with
Okay,
it, I
I
guess.
guess.
Sure.
Yeah, he is. They paint him to be, like, a good person, but I'm just like, I don't know if a good person could beat a girl with the metal pipe who's alone at night,
Yeah.
no matter what she did to your friend.
Right. Like, I mean, he only hit her once, but it only took once, right? Like, he freaked out afterwards and
Yeah.
ran. And, like, he could have
Mm-hmm.
confessed at any point after that. And, like, says he has his reasons, whatever. But, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no. I just
Yeah.
if that's what the bar is for being a good person, God help
Mm.
us.
I know. Randomly, so all that's happening, and then the three side girls, the love triangle, they just start smooching each other in a circle to see who likes who.
I did not understand the scene at all. I think I like zoned out for like 10 seconds and all of a sudden everybody was kissing and I was like, "Hello, only friends pussy again." Um
Yeah. Just in the middle of all of this, like, crazy shit going on, the love triangle, they're like, okay, like Pim and Pang kiss. Do you like each other? No. Pim and Jan kiss. Do you like each other? Kinda. Jan and Pang kiss. Ooh, that's the winner. So I guess the answer is Jan and Pang.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be together. Poor Pim. She's just fucked, I
Yep.
guess. She needs a new social circle completely.
Yes. Please.
This is just so random. This is honestly one of the strangest episodes of any show I've ever watched. um,
This
and then, if that wasn't crazy enough, kidnaps May.
this had me so stressed out.
Me too. Um, yeah, kind of
Lost it?
going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She basically thinks that no one loves her, and she talks about how she was so jealous of her sister growing up because she's like, my sister's always been like the strong, capable one. She's always had everything, and I've never had anything of my own,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because we know that I thinks that she's always been in the shadow of her sister. So maybe they should just talk about this. But
Yeah.
instead of doing that, is going to kidnap May. And um so now remembers Paul because Jan told her, and she brought May to the spot where Paul proposed to her.
Which saying no one loves her when Paul exists is kind of a
I know.
like hello?
It's such a slap in the face to Paul,
Like
but
the man's dead, you didn't
yeah.
have to kick him already.
I know. Just because you didn't love him doesn't mean that you can say that no one loves you,
Right? Like come
you
on.
know. And so now admits to orchestrating all of this so that I and May can get together. Because she's like, that's the reason why I sent I to come break up with you as me, but I told you about it beforehand, is because that gives you guys an in to like work things out together, which is a crazy plan, but I guess it worked. But she was like, oh, but then the problem is that I realized I still love May. So actually, I take it back.
Yeah.
You guys can't be together. Okay, girl.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like what are you doing?
I don't know.
Stressed.
Uh, yeah, and I guess like the day of the wedding, she was still contacting May or something, like saying goodbye to May. And the reason why Paul crashed the car is because he was drinking and he was upset that his wife was still in love with her ex.
Hmm.
But I mean, he knew what he was getting into, you
Yeah,
know?
he definitely did because May texted him, right? Or called him, one of the two,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because apparently sent her like a weird text and whatever, and it's where May was like trying to make sure everything was okay.
Yeah.
Right? So like clearly Paul knew about May.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but this scene is so unhinged because they're at like the ocean or whatever, right? I fully
Uh-huh.
expected to jump in the water and try and commit suicide.
Oh yeah. I was thinking that
I
too.
was so
Cuz they're just like right
stressed.
on the
Yeah.
like pier and
Like she was that unhinged with like the rant she was going on that I was like,
yeah.
nothing good is gonna come of this. Somebody please hurry
I
up.
know. That definitely crossed my mind too. And okay, this is May saying what I'm thinking, which is everyone needs to stop making decisions for me and just let me choose who I want.
Yeah.
Like, which is so true, Queen. Like, everyone's like the sisters are trying to manipulate one another to get each other to date you, but then they're like, oh no, just kidding. I want to date you. And May is like, hey, how about like I choose who I date instead of you guys choosing for me?
Yeah, that's not how that
Novel
works.
concept. Yeah. No, instead we got to do this convoluted manipulation plot.
Hmm.
And um I is there now, and they're all having a full meltdown, like sobbing completely, and basically makes I choose between her and May, which is the shitty ultimatum.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, it's her twin sister. I chooses
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't know if he was there the whole time, but the cousin is just like randomly there then. I'm like, how did he get here?
I'm assuming after, because May secretly calls I, right, when she's being kidnapped. And so and
Mm-hmm.
they have like a location share on for each other. So I knows where to go, and I'm guessing she calls the cousin to come help
Yeah.
um as backup instead of like anybody else. Um I
Yeah.
mean, I guess
I
he
just think it's funny because he like does nothing in the scene except like carry May away once she's like broken up with.
yeah. Well, she was gonna be
Just shows
stranded
up.
otherwise because, like, without even a second
That's true.
glance, I and just get in the other car, the one that used to kidnap May, and then leave.
Yeah.
So,
Just leave her there. That's true. Good thing he was there to plot device.
yeah,
But also, is this when is like, oh, Paul loved me and I finally love him, but it's too late.
yeah,
I don't think you love Paul. I'm sorry.
no,
I don't I don't think him dying because he drove drunk would change
no,
that much for you to love him
that's
now.
guilt.
Like that is guilt. I I think I think is gay, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like she did not care for that man one bit. She
No.
didn't even try.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah. Well, it's episode 12 and we have a little time skip. So,
Of course we do.
yeah. And okay, for the record, if someone put me through an ultimatum like that, like I would say normally under a circumstance I'd be like, "No, fuck you, like for making me choose." But I do understand I choosing because her sister's literally going through a huge mental breakdown out of coming out of a coma after being widowed after her sister is dating her ex. So it makes sense to me that why I chose you know.
Yeah, I
Like I can't blame her for that, you know.
yeah, I guess it makes sense. I just don't like it.
I know. Yeah. Well, cuz then okay, so episode 12, it's a year later and like has been like diagnosed with PTSD. So like it's good that she's getting help for it and stuff, but
Mhm.
like and I think it's good. I think one of the reasons why she's recovering is cuz I has been there for her and they've been closer to mend their relationship and through this recovery process.
Yeah,
So that's good, you know?
but I's also
Like,
been miserable this entire time.
oh yeah, poor I, yeah. At least like her novel is about to be published soon.
The
Um
next novel, this
so
isn't even the first
that's
one. This is like two or three.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. She's uh like established author at this point.
mm-hmm.
And like is getting ready to return to work as a flight attendant. Oh, and this is when she says she loves Paul now. But
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
okay, you
Okay.
don't, but whatever
What's the
helps
point of
you
even saying
sleep at
that?
night.
You know,
I know. Like,
it's been like a year and a half. Come on.
yeah. Sorry, Paul, but maybe don't drive drunk, I
Yeah.
guess. And May is now helping Ben reverse counter sue Batman, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sure, why not?
Yeah. I don't know how that works because I feel like whatever the first trial would have been was like, you know, all you can do. Otherwise, it feels like double jeopardy
Yeah.
or something. So,
Yeah, exactly. But I guess, I don't know. They found some new evidence or some shit, but
yeah.
and then so I guess a year ago she left May her journal that said that, like, that kind of explained, like, I love you, but like right now I have to prioritize my sister's well-being. Like, I'm so sorry,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
like, this is nothing to do with you. But
Mm-hmm.
so at least like May has that sort of explanation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um and meets up with May, and she's fortunately more well adjusted now.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know. And she urges May to read I's novel. She's kind of hoping to set them back up again. So, and so May shows up at I's book signing, and she kind of walks up to the booth and she's like, because I think, is this a story about them?
Yes, but
Okay,
it's straight. It's a prince and a
right,
princess.
right, yeah. Why? I guess sure.
Yeah,
We
whatever.
can do straight. Whatever sells, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but she's like, well, I didn't like that it had a sad ending. We should make a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And basically, like, apologizes to I for making her choose, and she kind of gives them their blessing, like, thanks for choosing me a year ago. Sorry about that. You guys can be together again. I'm okay with it.
Which I would be so mad at this point. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, and then okay, right after that, Kosol and are now flirty vibes.
Yeah.
Stop. Everyone needs to stop dating in the friend group
Yeah.
and
Go meet some new
branch
people.
out.
Yeah.
Meet some new people who are not involved in this shit. Stop dating your twin sister's exes.
Yeah.
And like, especially if he like physically assaulted your ex-girlfriend and made her blind.
Yeah. Like, come on now.
Maybe.
Everyone forgave him for that.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Like, I feel like people forgave him for that way quicker than they forgave May for lawyering
He's a
for
man.
Batman. So,
Yeah.
anyway, don't like that, but okay.
Yeah. No, honestly for me, like the end of the show just kind of fell apart.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
It's it's so messy and like
yeah.
in a way where it's like, I don't know. At this point I'm like, I don't care for any of these characters. They all suck
Yeah.
mostly. I hope Grandma is doing well, and I hope Ben's doing great. But other than that,
Even
I hope Pim is like found someone
right?
who deserves her.
'Cause even grandma annoyed me at
But
one point because it was when it came out that like the way she raised the kids caused them both trauma, and then she like made it about her and whatever, and I was like, you
yeah,
sit down.
yeah, right.
Like, okay, grandma.
Yeah, she's doing her best, but
Hmm.
yeah, I agree. Um, but yeah, I and May kiss. They get back together. Cool. Okay, this part, as if the show wasn't like ending stupidly enough. May's dad, for some fucking reason, never explained, messages her Happy Monday, and she's like suspicious, obviously, because this man is abusive and horrible.
Yeah.
And so she stops at her parents' house, and the dad is nice to them, and for some reason gives I a flower, which is complete 180 from previously when he was a raging homophobe.
Yeah. He's apparently softened up and gotten into gardening.
Yep. I guess now that his daughter's not blind anymore, he can be less embarrassed of her or something. I don't
I
know.
think it was whatever because May said something to him because they stopped talking for until now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about him being blind, like not physically blind, but him being like emotionally blind, basically. morally blind,
Mm.
something like that. And I think that's what got to him. And
Oh
I think he
yeah.
had to work through that. It still feels really awkward because there was no like build up or anything because you don't really know the dad outside of like the 2 times that he came in to raise hell before this. Um
Yeah, I know.
so and like a happy Monday and a flower isn't gonna make up for what he did.
No, I think they just tried too hard to like do a happy ending for everyone.
Yeah.
And it just like not all these characters need a happy ending.
Yeah, they could have skipped this part for sure.
Yeah. It didn't it really didn't make sense.
No.
Um but then they got married, so
Yeah, yay.
we end with a wedding. Yeah,
Well,
and that was Pluto. What a ride.
yeah. I didn't hate it,
Like
but I don't need to watch it ever again.
that's how I feel. Enjoyed it. I liked it. I was so annoyed by it too, and I probably wouldn't watch it again. But I'm glad I watched it,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed a lot of it.
Mhm.
I would say like the characters just like annoyed me so much, and I didn't like the relationship between I and May. I like didn't really care for that much.
Yeah.
Like it was fine and they were cute and stuff, but I don't know, it was too like insta lovey,
Mhm.
and then there was all this chaos happening, which I like chaos, but it was just like, okay, you know what, I'll go with it, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. So I couldn't buy into it because there's only like so much suspension of belief, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I just I didn't like any of the characters by the end of it. I had such a hard time watching this show. We were supposed to record this 2 weeks ago. Um,
Yeah.
I could not make myself get through this. I can binge a show in a day, easy. I could not get more than like an episode and a half in a day if I was lucky.
Yeah, I got through it pretty quick because I was pretty like invested in like
Yeah.
all the shit that was going down. Um, yeah, I definitely think I liked it.
Mhm.
I think that like more GL is good,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, it kind of just like how BL started.
Mhm.
Like there were some real stinkers in there.
Yeah.
Not that this is a stinker, but
No.
like, but like there has to be like diverse and different and all different types of like GLs to be released.
Yeah. You have to start
And
somewhere.
sometimes you'll yeah, exactly. I just think like more is better, of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, we'll get there because it was GMMTV has a few more announced for this year, right? So we have
Yeah,
so,
much more.
so they have more, and then somebody else announced one, right? So we have the one that Mech's gonna be in by my boss.
Mhm.
I don't know what studio is doing that one. Um,
Yeah.
but then it wasn't Change. And it wasn't Domundi. But somebody else announced that they were doing some GLs. Um,
Yeah, I definitely have seen more be announced recently.
yeah, and I think
And
we're
there's a couple airing right now.
yeah,
Um
I think Korea's gonna
so
do one. I think.
I think I saw that as
Yeah.
well.
So
I'm down.
so we're expanding. It's getting there. I
Yeah.
think it will go faster than BL did to get
Mhm.
to like now or whatever now would look like for GL.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean you still have to start somewhere, right? You have to
Yeah.
prove the fan base is there for something like this. Um,
Yeah.
because I think just for the nature of how the fandoms work, I think BL is always going to be more popular. Um, or at
Yeah,
least
I think
yeah, at least in the
I
short
think
term.
so too. Mhm.
um,
But yeah, I think the GL fans are passionate, you
yes,
know.
for sure.
And yeah, I definitely will be watching like more once they're released
Yeah.
and catch up on the ones that have been released so far. And it is fun so far how like they have all been quite different from one
Hmm.
another. So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, and there's a
I
few.
think Pluto is a very interesting show, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely glad I watched it. I liked it.
Hmm.
It was just a lot.
That it was. There's a
Mm.
few things where I'm like, why did we do that? Like the love triangle was a little okay. Whatever you guys say, that's fine.
In the middle of like the meltdown like
Mm,
episode, like
yeah.
the climax of the series, and we're just like, okay, these girls can kiss each other now.
We needed a break from that. You know, it's fine.
Yeah. That's the only way to tell who you like and who you don't, is if you kiss them and then you'll know, but not before.
That's why I'm single. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. You just gotta kiss everyone, and
Oh,
then one of them, you'll be like, oh yeah,
I think that's how I end
that's
in
my
jail.
first love.
I have long since had my first and second and third love. We're far past that.
You can only be with your first love. That's the moral of the show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still wouldn't talk to me now if I tried. I'm fairly confident.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Yeah, it's funny because I can't escape from being in the same social circle as him, even when I live, I don't know, like 15 hours away from him. Um,
Oh no.
oh,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
anything else you wanna?
No, I think we covered everything. How about you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I said my piece.
Okay. Well, then we'll wrap it. Um, Thanks guys for watching or listening wherever. You know, we're streaming on YouTube and Spotify with video, but you can also listen wherever you generally listen. So Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, a bunch of websites I'd never heard of. Um, and then outside of that, you can find us on our socials on Instagram and TikTok at bl.in.the.air, on Twitter at blintheair, which I feel like has lately just been me whining about not having the heart killers.
Yeah,
I miss that show so much. Um,
me too.
and we're also on Discord, of course. The easiest way to find us there is through the link tree, which you can find links to everything in the link tree, of course. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.